Welcome, trainers from all around the world, and welcome once again to the Pokemon UNITE Asia Champions League East Asia. My name's Contra, and this is Danley. That will be bringing you all of the matches that will be happening for this evening. Are you excited or what?
Look, it's not just this evening. We've got 2 months of a league stage, and then we have the grand finals happening in March. I'm super excited because this tournament is going to be a little bit different compared to what's happened in the previous year, Contra. So Let's sort of go through the changes. We are going to talk about the format later on, but let's introduce the biggest ones. And one of the biggest changes being draft mode activated. That means the team's going to be playing in the new mode, draft mode, where there is a ban available for both teams. And this adds a new level of strategy when it comes to playing the game, right? Because originally, teams could pick all Pokemon, and you didn't really get to see what your opponents are picking either. So you were possibly going into the next matchups blind, you didn't know how to prepare for the next strategies, and sometimes teams would use that to their advantage. Now that you can see what the opponents are picking and the particular order, it allows for counterplay. It allows for you to be able to choose what your builds are going to be, and I mean, there's going to be so much happening, Contra. I think we've got to start the show here.
Exactly, and for you guys to keep up to speed really quickly, why don't you guys go ahead and take a look into these sites that are available in English, Thai, as well as Indonesian. Go ahead, click on it, and of course you can even type it manually if you would like to. It'll allow you to take a glimpse at what's going to be happening throughout the Pokemon UNITE Asia Champions League on East Asia, and we also do have other regions as well for Southeast Asia, for India as a whole, and all the information you need on who's playing and when's the tournament schedule and everything else. It's all available on this website, so make sure you do check it out.
Think of it as like a ACL Pokédex. It's got all the information. It's got all the matchups, all the teams, the players participating on the teams, the dates, the times, everything you need to know for ACL. Make sure you save that link because if you need anything, just head on over to the website. It's got absolutely everything for that tournament. Oh my goodness, Contra. I know we're super early into the show, but I think we have to get through some of the formalities, right? We need to explain the format, what the teams are going to be doing, and I think some people are confused on how the tournament runs, right? Because this is the Asia Champions League, but we're not going to have everyone play in one league together. We're going to have everyone sort of separate, and then we're going to bring them all together for that grand final. But before that, though, we do need to remind everybody watching the show that we have some lucky giveaways for all of our viewers. Now, this is not just going to be any giveaway, Contra. It's mainly for our dedicated trainers.
It is absolutely special, and if you're currently watching on Twitch, perfect, because you can basically complete your registration on Stream Elements using the same Twitch account that you're currently on, and with all these points collected while watching the Pokemon UNITE Asia Champions League, you get to redeem prizes using all of the points that you've gathered via the Stream Elements prize store. And tell you what, you can get yourself booster packs and so many amazing Pokemon merchandise. And all you have to do, just watch all of your favorite trainers basically play all the matches throughout, and we get to enjoy a whole lot of fun, and you guys get to be rewarded.
Yeah, now speaking of the rewards, I do want to remind people what is up for grabs. We've got the graphic on screen, but for anyone that's a little bit confused still, we're giving away acrylic keychains, clear file holders, a Pikachu keychain, and Pokemon card blister packs and stacking tins. That's what you're seeing on the right-hand side of the screen. I thought it was like a gift.
My hands on those.
I thought it was a gift box, but no, those are Pokemon card boxes. So I'm very sure that's going to be some of the biggest prizes. If you're interested, register. It is absolutely free.
Absolutely, and I just really want to pop the stream right now just to get myself those coins.
No, you get your hands away from your phone. No, you're not allowed to register.
I'll just leave it for everybody else out there. So don't tell me that we haven't told you guys that there's so many good things that's here up for grabs. And of course, let's also talk about the teams that will be playing throughout the course of the day. And here are our qualified teams that have qualified from the open stages as well as the previous WCS. From East Asia, we've got Eternity, High Five, No Show, Secret Ship, as well as T2. These rosters are absolutely stacked. Some need absolutely no introduction. And from Southeast Asia, we've got Escape V, MYS, Renaissance, Rise, as well as Secret Rare.
Yep, and then of course finally we have India here. We've got God's Reign, Marcos Gaming, Revenant Esports, Soul, and True Rippers. If you did tune into the World Series last year, I think you're going to be pretty familiar with some of the teams competing in these regions. But for anyone that is confused, why is there East Asia, why is Southeast Asia, why is there India? The 15 teams that were invited to the tournament were split into regional groups. So these 5 teams in East Asia will play against each other, Southeast Asia against each other, and then India against each other. And the top 2 teams from these groups are going to proceed to the grand finals that's going to be happening live in Malaysia. So exciting. But let's take a look at the format before we tune into our first matchup of the day.
That's right, and we're going to be playing all these matches beginning with the first stage where they will be put into these groups where they will be playing against each other in their respective regions, and they will be playing in a best-of-3 format in a round robin. So what that means is that they'll be able to meet each respective team once, and then they will be able to gather all these points. So each perfect wins will get them 3 points in total. If they do win at least one game, that's 1 point. And if they did not happen to get much out of it, then it's at absolute 0. So with that being said, of course, you've already mentioned 2 top teams will be proceeding to the offline stage. So that is what the teams are looking to do. But on this regular season, of course, all the 15 teams will have to
play against each other.
Everything on the line to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. You're playing in your own region. Some of them are your countrymen as well. So super exciting. Now we are looking at the prize pool here. The tournament's total prize pool is $86,000 US, and here's the split. So how it works is that on the, technically it's called second stage, the league stage is what we're on right now. This is what the teams are playing for this first stage. The team that wins and the second team to qualify for the finals, they'll take home $5,000 and $2,500. And then we have $1,000 for that third place team. Now, unfortunately, it means we're not going to give anything to 4th and 5th, so competition is going to be extremely fierce because, as you can see in that grand final, $30,000 for first place.
Indeed, and being first seed is so important for all these teams. That not only guarantees you money, but you get one step closer to the ACL finals. That's of course the dream for any trainers out there. Now, here are the rules of the whole Pokemon UNITE Asia.
Pretty generic rules.
Yeah, I would say, like we've mentioned before, 10 minutes per match in the best-of-3 setting. And this time around, we have a switch of scenes in the Teia Sky Ruins with the draft mode, as mentioned by Natalie.
I'm
absolutely happy with all these new Pokemons and stuff. I definitely do love it. And, of course, on top of that, there's no limit or no rarity limit on the Pokemon support medal. This is probably a game changer, I would say.
Yeah, this is going to be something that a lot of players are going to be unfamiliar with, right? So previously, medals were not included in the games, but now medals are allowed. So this is going to add another layer of complexity for these teams, because now you have to realize, like, okay, what's the medal layout for this player? Like, maybe they've invested more in defense. Maybe someone's gone for all yellow emblems and they're just like, I'm going for movement speed, yo. Like, I just want to go fast.
Just run at him.
Yeah.
But speaking of complexity, this is what matters the most. Now with the introduction of draft mode, there's so much strategy that will be involved when it comes down to the pick phase. Of course, they will start off with a ban phase. Each team will be able to ban one Pokemon aside, and then we start with the first phase. They will take turns to choose their respective Pokemons, and then we move into the preparation phase where they will be able to switch up in respective to their own formations and also the roles that they'll like to play. So that gives a little bit more flexibility than to, oh, I'm going to be picking at the same time or so.
Yeah.
So this is just what we needed to see in competitive Pokemon Unite.
It's going to be so exciting. Now, here is the league table. Now, so far, we haven't played any games. I do want to remind people that today we are starting off with East Asia. Tomorrow will be Southeast Asia, and then on the Sunday, it will be India. So if you are waiting for those games, those are the 2 days that you want to watch. But, of course, I invite you to watch today. East Asia is an amazing region. Now, it's going to be a little bit confusing if you look at the brackets. We highly suggest, if you're confused, just focus on the bottom left-hand corner.
Or if you're going to focus on the top side, just pick either one, right?
Just pick one. Just pick one side. You pick either Scarlet or Violet. There you go.
Exactly. And early on, that bracket is a round-robin format.
Yes.
And after that, they will be positioned respective of their own seeding. So therefore, placing high will be really important because they will go into this gauntlet round from day 6 onwards. So we'll see the 4th and 5th seed to play it out, and then whoever wins will meet the 3rd seed, and then we'll continue on with the same rinse and repeat. So they'll have to battle the 2nd seed later on, and then to the 1st seed, where only 2 teams will make it to the finals.
Yeah, so ultimately placements are going to matter. You can't treat the first phase of the tournament as a practice match. You want to go into it as hard as you can because you honestly don't know what can happen later on in the tournament. Maybe you took that one game a little bit too easy and then you get knocked out.
Every single game matters.
Exactly.
It's a little bit stressful if you ask me when you're placed into the shoes of these trainers overall. But
actually, one thing we should also mention to the viewers as well is the point system, right? Because the teams get seeded based on points. I think the easiest way to look at it is like if you win or lose more games. So how it works with point system is that the winner of the series will always get 3 points, okay? But the differentiating factor between these games is that if it's a 2-0 victory for a team, the losing team gets nothing.
Yeah.
But if it's a 2-1, then at least the losing team gets a single point. And that single point can matter. So now ties suddenly matter so much more.
It does. And not only that, I mean, if you get those clean sweeps, 3 points is going to put you all the way up the way of the charts. But of course, we're going to start off on a really special match.
The first one.
We have T2 versus High Five.
Yeah, so let's take a look at these teams very quickly. On the side of T2, we have Supercell, Ruin, Haruda, Arjun, and Hibachi.
Yeah, some of these names are absolutely renowned back in their respective region, and then we do have High Five, who have played tremendously well. They've shown themselves quite a number of time in some of all these major tournaments, and it's great to see them starting things off on a high note. But my question to you, Danielle, like you probably have seen some of the play styles of both ends. What are you expecting out of this matchup?
You know what? I was expecting everything because let's be realistic. Everyone's going to play everybody. So, I mean, to start off the tournament with this matchup, I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. Actually, we didn't introduce High Five, did we? High Five. On the side of High Five, we have Z-Ray, BKZ, Ikura, Xingdi, and Worm. So these are our 2 teams that are going to be starting off the day. It's super exciting. It's a best-of-3 matchup. Winner takes home 3 points. And then, of course, the losing team, they're going to have to try and at least tie the series with a 1-1. You do not want to get 2-0'd.
Exactly. And
actually, let's sort of do a little bit of housekeeping because we just started the tournament and I think our viewers are not going to be aware of how some things work, right? So, Contra, let's talk about the situation with banning, right? How does the ban phase work for these teams? Like, let's say I ban Slowbro and the other team doesn't ban it. Would I still be able to pick Slowbro?
Well, if it's being banned out from either side of the party, then nobody actually gets to play it in that respective matchup. And therefore, these 2 bans is going to matter a whole lot, where both teams will definitely have to consider their options if they were to basically ban out a specific Pokemon of choice. And now also backs the question with new release like Dragapult, like, are the teams ready to basically face off against a Dragapult? We shall see.
Why not? I'm actually looking forward to seeing if that Pokemon does appear. But I do want to clear up something that maybe some people are going to be a little bit confused about, right? What happens to hybrid Pokemon? Some Pokemon have 2 forms, right? Of course, we're talking mainly about like Urshifu and also Scizor. So we did get confirmation from the team that if a hybrid Pokemon is banned, both evolutionary lines will be banned. You will not be able to pick either one. So this begs the question, like, now you've got double whammy bans. And we know for a fact that both Scizor and Urshifu lines are actually really, really popular Pokemon.
Yeah, and it's really high value Pokemons overall in any respective matches, and it's been pretty prevalent even in recent ranked games that I've played out. So with that being said, it just definitely gives them ample of choices as well. And when it comes down to drafting, you will want strong team synergy, so we're also looking at them trying to pair things up all together. I feel like a pick like Mew definitely does have a little bit to offer everywhere throughout the lot. So we'll definitely have to see what will be the new meta of the year.
Yeah, I think that's the real question because we're only looking at a single ban for both teams. And at this point in time, everyone's sort of starting fresh, right? You've got emblems on the field, you've got the pick bans to work with as well. I wonder how this is going to affect the meta and current popular choices because I think in the past you were able to go for surprise drafts because nothing was banned anyway. So now that teams can see each other's picks, and you're also going to be able to see the bans. Now you can sort of formulate during the drafting phase. Is this a scoring comp? Is this a brawling comp? Is this a objective taking comp? You know, how do we counter these comps? And there are some Pokemon that basically get massively nerfed from this, right? Because you don't have the surprise factor anymore unless you specifically pick and ban Pokemon and then it ends up being your final pick. So it's the non-counter. But then you've invested everything into, let's say, Zeraora. I know it's like such a left field Pokemon, but you pick Zeraora because you want that really early game power spike. You miss the spike with that Pokemon, or the other team counters it. I mean, who would pick Zeraora after that?
Yeah.
So it's such a big investment in the drafting phase now. It's not just the game.
Which is why the preparation phase actually changes the game, right? Like, if you really want to go for that Zeraora, you really want to look at what they play out first, and then pop it as your final pick. And then that's very much doable.
Yeah, and then it sort of leaves like, okay, well, does that mean all the final picks are going to be your late gamers, right? Like, let's say you want to try and go for Gengar. This Pokemon, very, very greedy, needing a lot of resources to fully evolve to actually make it worth it. Is it worth going for that final pick to pick up a Gengar? Same with Tyranitar even, right? Tyranitar's another late game Pokemon that, if anything, you want it to have as easy of a game as possible.
Exactly, and I think like perhaps there's going to be a little bit more of that high priority on some of the speedsters that is available for grabs. So perhaps that will be the first choice out of the many that they will be going for, or else you want to play it a little bit safe. You want to go for something more defensive. Well, if it's ever going to be a Crustle or something like.
No, not Crustle. I don't think that. I'm so sorry to anyone out there that likes Crustle. I don't think this Pokemon is going to make an appearance. Maybe after the next balance patch, because I think Crustle needs a little bit of love from Team E right now. Because I think it's the least loved defender currently. Very, very sad case for the Crustle
Well,
mains.
I guess like we're definitely in for some surprises if the pro players have something else to offer us on the table. So yeah, we're getting ourselves ready for our upcoming match. So of course, T2 as well as High Five, both really respectable teams that have been able to have excellent results in the past. Now that they're pit against each other, and there are so many other stacked teams in East Asia, they're going to be looking at this very first game as a reference point. And this is where I think that they could be the ones to determine what the meta is going to look like.
Yeah, it might be them to determine it, or maybe these teams also trying to figure out how do we deal with the new emblems, with the draft. Speaking of draft, we just got some news. We're about ready to jump into our first matchup of the day. It's a best-of-3 game between T2 and High Five. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, T2 was one of the Japanese representatives at Worlds last year, and High Five is the team coming in from the Taiwan Open 2022, which happened last year as well. So this is actually Taiwan's first venture as a region into Pokemon Unite. I feel like I know Taiwan is actually a very competitive region when it comes to games in general. So I'm wondering how much of this competitiveness is going to bleed into Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, and with a blank sheet of paper of what they are offering here, I think like there's a lot of element of surprises. Plus, there's been so many trainers that's been waiting to show what they've got. I think like this will definitely prove to be some challenge to T2, but with the experience that they do have, I think like they're pretty much ready. They've already faced some of the best trainers of the world, and we'll just see, are they ready to go in for the first game, or are they going to have some sweaty hands or
Sweaty
cold
hands.
feet?
No.
We never know. I mean, what the weather is
Well,
like for these guys.
I know for a fact that if they are playing on mobile, they generally tend to have a little bottle of baby powder next to them, so they're not gonna. You don't want to have your fingers like slipping and sliding with the sweat. You know, you gotta bring your A game in. And looks like we're ready to jump into our first game, ladies and gentlemen. To all of our Pokemon trainers tuning in, let's see what Pokemon are going to be making it to the field and what Pokemon are going to be banned. That's the most important thing that I want to see. What are people looking at right now? And of course, it is the Urshifu and Mew. So we're not going to be seeing Urshifu, no Mew. We've seen some crazy Mew plays in the past from some of the community tournaments. And of course, for anyone that has been streaming their games, most of the Mew mains are pretty insane.
Yeah, she just offers so much utility as well as damage output, and it's so unpredictable what she's going to pull up next to it.
Yeah.
But that also opens up
pick.
a few picks on the table, and we're going to start off with Scissor for T2, and High Five says, okay, if you're not going to get that Sableye, I'm just going to snatch it away.
I think Sableye is probably going to be one of the most highly contested supports coming into the tournament, right? This Pokemon has so much utility. You're able to deny people from the stacking meta. You can sneak around and you can really poke those squishy Pokemon, especially if there's no one behind them that can actually protect them from the Sableye. So interesting choice. I love the Alolan Ninetales though. So you have a lot of control coming in from Ninetales on the side of High Five, and then Mr. Mime and Blissey. So two supports coming in here for Team T2. Now, these two are very interesting, right? You pick Blissey because you want to buff someone up. And now you've got a Mr. Mime as well for more healing and more aggressive pressure. He's an amazing solo laner as well. I want to see what Pokemon they pair up with these two.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how T2 sets this one up because they can offer some decent sustainability in some of these team fights that they're going to pull up with. And on the other side, High Five decides, you know what, we're going to brick wall you with the Snorlax, and we will have a Machamp to outmuscle you.
Really?
But, wow.
Okay,
Espeon, Aegislash, your thoughts?
I'm wondering what kind of build this is going to be with the Espeon. I assume it's not going to be stored power because that just doesn't do enough damage. You're probably going to go for Psyshock, but they've got a long-range damage dealer. You've got a lot of support. You've got a lot of Pokemon that can jump into the backlines and protect you if necessary. And it looks like High Five, they're just going to go all-out offense in your face with a backline Alolan Ninetales. I want to know what the Alolan Ninetales build is going to be, right? Are you going to go for Dazzling Gleam? Do you want to maybe try and stun up the Scissor and the Aegislash, or are you actually going to go for Avalanche instead? Are you going to try and block the Pokemon?
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards, I mean, Aurora Veil feels like a necessity here.
It does, and that probably will be the key factor in some of all these fights. Now we're preparing ourselves for this game.
Our first
game overall here in the Pokemon UNITE Asia Champions League. Tell us who you're rooting out for, T2 or High Five, as we're about to kickstart our match in the Tea Sky Ruin. So with that being said, of course, we take a look at High Five's setup here. It does allow them a whole lot more options heading into the late game, especially with this Sableye that could just sneak past everybody.
Yeah, I mean, T2 just looks like they've got a sustained comp, right? You have a team that has so much healing and so much way to sustain in these fights. It's going to be really hard for High Five to take them down, but we will see what happens because realistically, High Five do have quite a lot of burst on their end as well. So it's not that they're going to run out of damage. But of course, we have the Sableye doing his usual thing. And a Snorlax as well. This is interesting. High Five sending both Pokemon into the Tier 2, the T2 central area. And he even managed to get the steal. Oh, no, Haruta. This is going to slow down his early game.
Yeah, Ikura is just so disruptive. He's just going to be chasing
He just abandoned it. He was like, nah, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah. Meanwhile, over on the top side, we do have a little bit more commotion happening between Wushen as well. And Ruin's just going to go chasing after BKZ. He's just going to be going back to the
What, the turnaround?
Oh, Ajin, he's being caught out, and that will be the first knockout of the game.
Yep, that was also the rotation as well. So Xingdi came in, they had the damage, they were able to get that knockout, and that means it's going to slow down the progress of that little Chansey evolving into Blissey. But this does make the top lane a little bit easier as well, right? Because you have an Espeon paired up with the Blissey. They're going to rotate down bottom instead, and there are 4 Pokemon here. Sableye going to go in first, but they're on the jump pad. With the shield on there, it does make it a little risky to try and go for that aggressive play. So back back into the central area they go.
Yeah, you can see that it's pretty much well balanced on how they've been able to rotate across the map overall as T2 responds in kind most of the time. Now, my question is, Haruda, is he going to turn into Scissor or keep the same form as a Cypher later on? Where, of course, it does offer different sort of damage output altogether. Ikura being so disruptive, and Mr. Mime, he's in trouble.
Supercell. He's like, oh goodness, I'm being bullied by a giant Oranberry. What can you do? Yeah, but so far we're not seeing too many Pokemon getting knocked out. But here we go, Haruda being jumped on by the Sableye. Luckily was able to back up. But we do have a pincer formation coming in from High Five. But beautiful pushback there from the Mr. Mime. That's going to be 2 Pokemon down on the side of High Five. And now are they going to be able to turn this around? It's High Five on the run. It looks like they will be able to escape, but T2, beautiful counterplay, getting those 2 knockouts.
Yeah, some crucial pickoffs overall, and now we do see a little bit more reset going on from both ends, and in a matter of minutes, we'll see some of all these huge challenge over on top end as well as bottom. So we'll see whether if we get a Regice, Registeel going on the bottom, and well, over on to the bottom end, we might just actually see another fight break loose. Now, it does take a little bit more time for High Five members to get ramped up. We do have a knockout as the Machamp finds a pickoff. So
it's on
this
the
is going to
Espeon.
open some room.
Yeah, so one of the disadvantages when you're running that Espeon is that this Pokemon is just so squishy. If you can get on top of this Pokemon with anything, it more or less is just going to get KO'd. We have a fight down here for the Regirock though, and it looks like it is going to be taken there by T2. And that means they're now going to try and dive onto High Five. I think they're going to have to just abandon this jump pad. If they try and defend it, they're probably going to just get knocked out. And yeah, they're going to let it go. They say, it's fine. We've lost the Regirock. Just give them the jump pad. It's at the moment, it's just a tier 1, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine, and T2 did it so coordinatingly. So I just love how they've been able to regain a little bit more of their form, though there was a little bit of hiccup. Ushendo playing with a little bit more fire as Supercell forced to retreat very quickly.
Yeah, don't play with the Machamp. You know, that's a Pokemon that can just turn around and say, I got you! So painful, but here we go. We have a fight here for the Regieleki, but here we go. The big jump there from the Snorlax! It absolutely turned the fight in favor here of High Five. They also get the Regieleki, and they're going to continue to push. Maybe they can try and take this jump pad down, which means they can try and contest for the tier 2. 38 points. Can they grab some points? No. They're trying to defend, but it looks like T2, they will go down. But the Regieleki did go onto the jump pad, so luckily for them, it was not a potential fight for that tier 2.
Yeah, High Five just had everything falling in their favor overall and just absolutely overwhelmed them. That Snorlax play.
Give him an Oranberry, okay?
Yeah.
Ikura deserves it.
Give him 5 if you have to, because Ikura is just having this outstanding playmaking potential overall. So T2, yep, that was their first dent into the team fights, but later on I think we'll see a lot more, especially when this A/Slash gets into a deeper position. Oh boy, Speaking of which.
Oh, so scary, especially when you get jumped on there by a Machamp. But luckily for Hibachi, he is one of the tougher Pokemon in the game, so he luckily doesn't get burnt. But here we go. We have 4 Pokemon trying to go to that tier 2, the tier 1 pad here. We do have the Unite as well coming in from the Espeon, but it didn't quite catch too many Pokemon. But are we going to just abandon this? We've got the block here coming in from that Snorlax. 54 points left on the jump pad. Now is it going to be a turnaround here? High Five looking to try and grab some Pokemon here. T2, they did lose 2 in that process. The Mr. Mime and the Aegislash.
Yeah, now that opens a lot of space for the Regirock take for High Five. Now there will be a little bit more retaliation. T2 trying to set this one up to go in for a wraparound, but Ikura's there to guard them off.
Can they quickly finish it?
Already up ahead, and I don't think they would be able to entry at all. Oh my goodness, that Machamp is just muscling everybody out.
Oh my goodness, he's just doing so much damage. And of course, after taking the Regi, they get the shield, they get the bonus. It just makes this fight so easy for High Five, and that's going to be another tier 1 for them. So now it's only tier 2s left here for T2. Oh goodness, I didn't realize what was happening here. But we do have Regieleki respawning in that top lane. And as you can see, High Five, they are going to move the entire team there, but they don't have the Machamp. So we are possibly looking at a 4v5 Is this the fight that T2 are looking for?
I believe they might have to choose their options here, and there goes Hibachi jumping right into the middle as he chases onto ZZ Ray. Will be the first to be knocked out of the fight, and they will secure themselves that Reggie Elecki. But, almost getting that steal, but there will be punishment involved for Yushen. But he will be able to make it out safely. It's a safe alive after all.
Yeah, well, at least I think the most important thing here for T2 is that you've denied the Reggie Elecki for high five, right? Like, yes, maybe they didn't take the tier 1 tower, the tier 1 jump pad with it, but it's better than it going towards your T2. So I love the fact that T2, they fully invested in it. They showed complete respect to high five. I think high five maybe got a little bit too excited. They thought, oh, we don't need everyone here. You can just keep going in that bottom lane, get some EXP and get ready for that late game because Contra, in a minute, we're going to be looking at that Zapdos. And of course, we always know what happens with the Zapdos.
That's the turning point for both of these teams here. Though High Five does have a significant lead for the moment, but if they do get it...
Oh my goodness, I said Zapdos.
Yeah. Yep, you're still living in the past. It's 2023
I know,
now.
I'm sorry. Oh, goodness.
Yep, Rayquaza.
2023. Crazy stuff. We're all mixed up here. Oh. Sableye.
This is going to be absolutely annoying.
You know, I swear, people that play Sableye, they are that one kind of person that just loves living on the edge. You know, it's like running in between 5 Pokemon, just maybe smacking somebody. Oh, the points didn't go in there for T2. Nice defense there. But this does mean if the jump pad doesn't go down, this is going to be an exposed jump pad going into that late game. And you know what happens, right? Double points.
Double points, like you said. And most importantly, High Five have just secured themselves the Regirock yet again. So they're just going to have a slight edge into these team fights as well. Ikura already in position.
Love that
and they're already
position.
tickling it. So T2, they got to respond in kind. Here comes the Machamp though. BKZ don't want to hop right in. But Wushan tries to initiate, and here we go.
Oh, they did try and actually go in for the bait there with the Sableye. Luckily, it did work. They had to go for the Unite there with the Blissey, and they were able to get the defense, but 2 Pokemon on the side of T2 are down. They're left with the Aegis Slash and Mr. Mime as their main form of damage, which means High Five, they can go completely freely on this Rayquaza, and they're going to be able to take another one down. 2 Pokemon left on the side of T2. There's no way they can get the steal there because it's just too healthy. Mr. Mime, he's come back. He wasn't able to do anything.
He's so low. Run, Mime.
It doesn't really matter at this point. You know, it's you've got the shield on the side of T2. They're going to score more points, and they're already with a 300-point advantage. So, oh my goodness. I mean, is there comeback on the side of T2? I just don't think so.
I don't think so. There's too little time to squeeze those points in, and especially with the Rayquaza going over in favor of High Five. I believe that's a done deal here for game.
Wushan's
High
just
Five.
coming in. He's like, I'm going to put another 50 in here.
Makes that 100.
Dunk it in. Another 100 as well. Oh my goodness, but I loved how High Five approached this game, right? I love that they sent in both Snorlax and Sableye to harass T2's early game pressure. It prevented them from having those early levels on the Scyther, because we all know that Scyther, one of the most explosive Pokemon in the game if you can give him that power spike. And so slowing him down, it let them focus on their lanes. And I just feel like T2, their composition in general, really relied on that early game head start, and they just couldn't get it.
And with High Five having an absolute great read of this game and the whole composition, they will secure themselves the very first victory here in the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League.
Oh, Taiwan.
And there we go.
The representatives looking strong so far. High five. I am impressed.
I absolutely do love it. And just look at it, almost hitting that 1,000-pointer mark. And it is a remarkable finish here on the very first matchup. But we will expect T2 to come in with a different kind of composition heading into the second game. I think you've basically mentioned exactly what High Five needed to do. Halt that early game and things will go much smoother as they scale on by.
Yeah. So I think if we had to sort of give an MVP to this match, I really felt like it had to be Ikura with that heavy slam up towards the first Regieleki, I believe. I think it was like a 3 or 4-man heavy slam set up for his team, and they just got a beautiful cleanup, got the Regieleki, and it just felt like it was smooth sailing after that. So Ikura, fantastic play. Props to you. And you get the first MVP for the tournament as well. I mean, technically Wushan got the MVP for the team, but Ikura, this man did wonders.
Yeah, I mean, the way that High Five plays is just spectacular, right? Like, you have the Sableye that is so disruptive, and then you basically pick apart members of T2. They just have to find and focus on a singular target, and there's no chance for them to do so.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like maybe something that T2 has to consider moving into this next game as well is that what other choices did you have with the Espeon, right? Because this Pokemon, it's a very niche, very particular Pokemon. It does a lot of damage, right? I think we can say that. But most of it comes in the form of its abilities. It's not a basic attacker. It's not able to run into the fights. It's so squishy. And then you have the Unite move where it basically has to be in the middle of the fight if you want to be able to catch a couple Pokemon with it. In this game, Ruin sort of used it in a defensive way where it was if you wanted to try and secure something or if you wanted to maybe catch that one singular Pokemon. I feel like if you're going to play your Espeon like this, maybe there are other choices. Maybe you could have picked Gardevoir instead.
Yeah.
That does something similar. You've got the Unite move that does something more or less the same. It's in front of it.
The Mirage will be a game changer in these team fights.
Yeah, I think the only difference between these two Pokemon is that Gardevoir, a lot more EXP requirement, right? Espeon evolves at level 4, which is very fast. But outside of that, that's the only thing you really have going for Espeon. It's just a watered down Gardevoir, I guess.
I guess like they're just looking to ramp up in terms of that early game potential, which didn't exactly work out in favor of T2.
Yeah.
I think like that's basically the crutch here overall.
Yeah.
So let's lead back to some of the highlights of the action that we had at Wushan. Ooh, the Sableye has always been pestering them all the time, and like you said,
so annoying.
On that double-edged sword plays on every single moment.
Yep. Then, of course, you had the Reggie Rock fight down in this bottom lane here. And, I mean, what could you really do? Like, yeah, sure, High Five didn't get it. A Heavy Slam was almost perfect. Again, Ikura, give this man a promotion. I don't care what you do. Just give this man his orange berries. But this was really the only fight that we saw T2 win. And I kind of feel like it was mainly from a numbers advantage, right? They had 4 players down there against 3 on the side of High Five. I think we're looking for the Heavy Slam here. Look,
it just
beautiful.
Was sublime, hitting onto 3, perhaps even on 4.
I think it was 4. I think it was 4.
Yeah.
It was insane.
It was that perfect setup so that Xingdi could just go in for a proper cleanup. And we saw that Decider was absolutely late to the scene, where the last we checked, it was basically up directly towards the middle. And then we have that perfect defensive layer that comes in. Xingdi holds it all together, and then Ikura joins in from the back. Like, that denies so many points being scored by T2, and it's just so significant.
It was so significant. I don't know, High Five were next level. It really felt like this team was next level. They understood their objectives. They knew what they needed to do. They knew when to protect their jump pads and when to be aggressive. And I think just overall their draft was just better because they had the EXP advantage. I think they just had the advantage for the entire game.
Yeah, overall, I think like they've had it all written down on a sheet of paper, if ever the case. Like, okay, if this is gonna be the draft, we're gonna go for this, right? Yeah. So that's how prepared High Five are, and they took the very first win of the tournament thus far. So congratulations to them. That's 1 point secured, but they need the 3 points, though.
That's the most important thing, right? You need to get that second point, and it's always, that's the difficult part, getting over the hedge. And I feel like going into this next game, T2 now have a bit of an idea as to how High Five play, and they're probably going to be expecting the jungle invades now. So then, going into this next game, how are you going to play around it? Are you going to pick Pokemon that can deal with the jungle invades? Are you going to maybe pick supportive Pokemon that can go into the jungle with you? That's not uncommon. When you know you're going to get raided, sometimes you have to bring in one of your support Pokemon or at least a teammate with you to quickly finish off those Pokemon so it doesn't get stolen.
Exactly, and I believe that that is going to be pretty crucial heading into the next match for T2. And most importantly, are they going to switch up that ban? Because like there's a few things on the list that's actually really impactful. I don't think that banning out Snorlax will do any trick at all. Stealing it away is also a game plan hitting to draft modes, by the way. So perhaps that could be something different. I
guess so. I mean, if you want to sort of look at other ways to deal with that Snorlax, you can pick Pokemon that can just run at him, you know? I personally, I'm a big fan of Mamoswine. You've got all the AoE control, the Pokemon freezes. He's got a very great defensive Unite move. I mean, we haven't seen Greedent, but then again, we've only seen one game. You know, we also have Greedent that's probably like the biggest pest in the entire game. You know, it's like an infestation. Once you've got hit with the Greedent, you know, you've got to throw the entire house out, buy a new house. But yeah, I just... This game, it was probably a bit of a warmer for both teams. I am looking forward to seeing T2 with that comeback. Maybe even going for a bit of cheese in this next game.
Yeah, I believe so.
You don't have any data on each other, right? So that means you can suddenly bring out some of the interesting things, especially when it comes to those final couple picks.
Exactly, and we see a little bit more of that high priority focus onto that pick of Mew, which was being banned initially. So
that's getting banned again. I'm gonna say it.
Probably. So I mean, like, Mew. If they added Mewtwo, I mean, like, you expect to see both on each end.
Mewtwo.
That's not in Unite just yet. Hopefully.
I love how you say
someday.
yet. Like you're just saying
Hopefully.
like it's not in the game yet.
I'm just having a lot of aspirations to what I could look forward to within 2023 or even 2024, you know? Like, there's going to be a whole lot of Pokemon.
You're looking so far ahead. Like, you're already looking at 2024. Okay.
If I'm a Pokemon, if I have a type, it has to be Psychic.
I think we have a lot of Psychic Pokemon in the game, actually.
Yeah, Espeon being one of it.
Yeah, so Espeon, Gardevoir, Mr. Mime's also Psychic.
Gengar?
No, Gengar's Ghost.
Oh, yeah, Ghost.
I don't know
There's
why.
A lot of them
is Delphox Psychic? I feel like it is.
I believe that everyone out there on the chat will be arguing with you on that, so we'll definitely.
I feel like it is, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure. It's funny because I even picked Delphox, so.
Oh well, go ahead, check that Pokedex.
My brain's gone. But speaking of Pokemon, though, I am keen to see like what kind of choices are going to be going to the next game. Like, let's take a look at the Pokemon that we already saw. Right, I think. What's going to be making a return? I always feel like the Snorlax was so good, like why should you pick anything else?
Yeah.
Snorlax, Sableye was also a great choice as well. Like the fact that you have these two Pokemon invading, I'd do it again.
Yeah, I would say that perhaps this time we'll see either Pokemons on each respective sides just to deter from both picks being handed into a respective team.
Yeah.
And then if you look at Machamp, is he going to be viable heading to the next game? It really depends on that setup because he will be quite the meat shield as well as offering a form of damage on top of it, but without maybe a Snorlax, maybe not as effective, I would say, and he will get a lot more attention coming from the opponent team. So it definitely has a lot of consideration to put into. So when we look at attackers, though, I mean, we don't really see too many of them, like especially when we have things like the Sidewise as well as the recently release of, you know, the new Pokemon.
Yeah, so attackers, they're in a very interesting situation, right? Because currently in the game, attackers are currently being overshadowed by a lot of all-rounders, right? I mean, you can still pick them. Attackers are still great Pokemon, but
they're a little bit squishy, right?
They're squishy, and some of them are a little bit EXP demanding, right? You need a lot of resources to get them up.
That's true.
So unless you can get them, if you can guarantee the setup for these Pokemon, they can be great. But again, it's a case of can you allocate those resources? And it's funny because a lot of the attackers also demand the same resources as your speedsters. So who's going to be able to get the central area? Can you guarantee this attacker's farm and lane? Because most of the time they're quite fragile. They're very late evolving Pokemon. And
I love what we saw in that very first matchup where a lot of all these movements across the map has been having the center stage of it being the focal point where they have contested as well for even more chaos energy and everything else. But there is going to be that same sort of play style where you expect perhaps a little bit more attention on that support on those early picks. So with that being said, that's going to accompany whoever that's going to be, whether it's a speedster, maybe a Talonflame. I don't know. Like, we might actually get a glimpse of it.
Okay, Talonflame, I could absolutely see if you're maybe trying to go for a score comp. But even then, like, if you're going to pick Talonflame, I think you'd rather go for Dodrio.
Yeah.
Like, they both more or less function the same. The only difference is that I think you have a little bit more mobility and maybe a tiny bit more burst with the Talonflame. But if you don't KO the Pokemon when you fly on top of it, it's like, you're gone, you know, you're going back to base, not them. So yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, interesting position for some of these Pokemon. Like who do you want and who fills that particular role better? Because ultimately you're trying to figure out, like, are you trying to focus on scoring? Are you trying to focus on early KOs? Yeah, I think going into the next game, I don't think we're going to see the double supporters again on the side of T2.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan.
Luckily not.
Especially with the fact that they maybe went for that Espeon last pick. I feel like you needed someone with a bit more oomph to justify the Blissey.
I also do think that they may not have just about the right enough output of damage in total to deal with not only the Snorlax as well as Machamp, like to even get to the backline, or and then you have the Sableye that's so annoying. That's going to be drawing attention.
It's
so
very
I felt like,
annoying.
yeah, there's a few things that T2 will have to basically sort out before heading into the next game. But
It's
speaking
here.
of which, it's already arriving here.
All right, watch this. Urshifu and me again. Or maybe, could be Snorlax, maybe.
I don't
maybe
think that deserves a
Sableye.
ban for Snorlax.
I mean, Sableye is also worth
Perhaps Sableye would be one of the considerations from the side of T2
It's unfortunate that we only have a single ban. I kind of feel like in some of these games you
if they
need
do
the
have
extra.
3.
Yeah.
That will make it a lot interesting.
But you'd need like 14 Pokemon, I think, if you wanted to play draft mode. So here we go. We do see the continued Mew ban, but this time it's going to be Scizor and also Scyther. So we're not going to be seeing the Pokemon anymore, but this does mean Urshifu makes it onto the field, and that's going to be snatched up here by High 5. Now we do know how explosive Urshifu can be. This Pokemon can do so much damage, but he does need to evolve. That's the most important thing to happen for this Pokemon. So I'm expecting possibly Central Area. And on the side of T2, interesting. Double supporters again, but we're not seeing the Blissey. It's the Mr. Mime and Sableye combo this time.
Yeah, and this time around, probably they will be pairing with a different sort of attacker, but that is to be seen. But High 5 decides, you know what, I'm just going to take this Dragonite away from you this time around. And we do get ourselves a first Eldegoss heading into our second game. So would that actually complement what we have so far? Because BKZ, he looked amazing on the Machamp, and Urshifu kind of works in a similar manner as well.
So I'm looking at the Dodrio, and it's going to happen.
Wow.
So Dodrio on the side of T2. So looking at the Eldegoss, depending on how they build it, I'm kind of happy with the fact that they might be going for the Eldegoss, right? Because you can get the movement speed bonus, you can go for heal, you can go for the knock-up. I think there's a lot of things you can do. It's a great support Pokemon. But interesting, High 5 might go for Blissey. Nope, they're going to go for
Snorlax is still there.
Fine. Totally fine.
Ikura was so good on that Snorlax. Why pass on it, right?
Yeah,
Just
why play the pink Snorlax? You know, play the original. But T2 though, hyper aggressive this game. So they do have healing in the form of that Mr. Mime. If they go for the Azumarill, they want to go for that sustained team fight, right? Because if you go for Aqua Tail on the Azumarill, you're going to get a lot of health back, and we know that you're going to be seeing Urshifu and Snorlax in your face. There's nowhere else these Pokemon are going to be, and I doubt this is going to be an Outrage Dragonite. I presume it's going to be Hyper Beam again. So I feel like this game's not too bad for Hibachi. I mean, without a doubt, Ajun's literally just going to be tied to his shoulder, right? Like you're never going to see him tether anybody else.
Exactly, and now this is the matchup for T2 to redeem those points, to push it into Game 3. Can they do it? Tell us in the chat below, Twitch. So
we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Here we go.
Oh,
High 5
boy.
looking to close this off on a 2-0 note. Let's see if they could do it as well. But when we look at the potential coming in for T2, that split push effect heading into the late game could be something that can pull them a whole lot of points later on.
Yeah, so Urshifu on BKZ, I'm really excited to see what he can do with this, and also which Urshifu form we're going to be looking at as well, right? Because depending on how you level up and build your Urshifu, you're either going to be going for just a lot of burst damage, or you're going to be focusing more on just being annoying. But here we go, we do have two Pokemon on the side of High 5 actually looking to protect their central area Pokemon, because they know that Sableye, he's going to go into lane. So Supercell, he's just going to be left in the bushes.
They just sniffed him out really quickly, and
They
that
knew.
leave Ruin all alone though. Still
Might be
surviving. Could he cancel off all these dunks? Apparently not, but it doesn't really matter all too much. BKZ will still land a few more points in as Ruin goes on the chase. Well, a little bit of tussle going on over onto the
they
bottom
almost got him.
side. And BKZ still survives.
They're so desperate to get the knockout on BKZ. I can totally understand that play, right? Because if you knock him out, he's off the field, he's not getting EXP, you're going to delay that evolution. So very unfortunate, but I can absolutely sympathize with why they tried to go for him and rather than an easier knockout.
Exactly, and of course, it's
And
just
there
going to
we
be a
go.
brick wall over on top, and we're just going to see a contest going up. They're jumping
Oh,
onto
no.
it's Ruin, but the first one to be knocked out is the Dratini, as the Dodrio is doing so much work.
And now they're going to try and dive onto the jump pad here. And with 4 Pokemon, it's going to be really hard for BKZ to defend this by himself. He just gets in-capped, and that's going to be it. They're going to dunk all their points in. Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, I almost said Japanese, I guess, because it makes sense, right?
okay.
T2, Japanese, Japanese.
Yeah,
Okay.
their region
I'm gonna
does
stop now.
offer a whole lot of
My
variety.
brain switched off. It's
No
okay.
worries about that. Well, it's still pretty early for us here in the studios. But now, that's a little bit of payback. They finally take down the Sableye, so there's no disruption available. So Xingdi just got to move away with the Dragon Dance, heading all the way back. Now, I'm interested as to which objectives each team will favor later on, but here goes. Ikura trying to disturb them and steal some AOS away. Not too successful, but at least they sniffed them all out. Knocks
Oh.
up Hibachi.
Nice steal as well. They prevented him from getting that little bit of EXP, so slowing him down. And Aqua Tail is there. Yeah, they're not going to dive onto that jump pad as of yet. And now we have a solo matchup here. Alolan Ninetales going up against the Urshifu. But here we go. You know what happens when you have that Sableye. Comes in with the backstab, opens up, and that's going to be it. And now Arjun's here as well. They're going to stop Snorlax from preventing these points. So T2, they've really stepped it up this game. I am impressed.
Yeah, and they're just not even pressing the brakes here, while there is going to be a little bit more of that pressure built up towards the bottom side, as both objectives are about to be spawned up. So we'll see what sort of Pokemon will be on the bottom later on. So Haruda getting himself ready for
Registeel.
Oh, this is going to be pretty tough for them, though.
Oh, they've jumped in. Oh, they managed to get the big hit in, but Ruin was able to get that jump back. He does have Dazzling Gleam. He's going to try and go for the in caps. He's trying to go for the stuns. He will go down, though, but Urshifu does get taken down ultimately. And now this poor Eldegoss just sitting here on 1 HP. It's totally fine. We'll get taken down by Haruda's Dodrio. Pikachu is here, though. Haruda able to get that get away with how speedy he is. And now the Registeel. On the other side of the map, though, we actually had Hibachi soloing that Regieleki, which means that that's going to be pushing that top T1. The fights continue, and we know what happens with Dodrio. This Pokemon so good when it comes to getting those quick damage hits, and it's going to be the left side to get the Registeel, so that's going to be bonus damage for high 5. Is this going to be where the game goes downhill?
Oh, it doesn't seem so likely. Ikura is the first one to be knocked out as they will continue to chase onto ZZ Ray. Will the Dodrio continue to chase? They will find the Dragonite, though. And that's a 3 streak going on. Still going for it.
Look at Dragonite and Urshifu for damage, whereas for T2, it's spread across the board. They have that can easily knock someone out if they're stunned.
Exactly, and their strength in Hi-Fi is to basically play together as a team so that they will be able to add many AOS energy on top of that, too.
No, I just don't see Hi-Five being able to score points unless they get the Rayquaza.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a Pokemon that can quick. For example, a Pokemon that can quickly go in, score those points, and leave. So it's really just going to come down to these major objectives. And you can see how they're camping this middle area as well. They're going to try and lure things in with BKZ, and it looks like T2, they will take the bait. That's a lot of damage coming in from the Pikachu Electro Ball. Hibachi, though, in that top section, he will get immediately KO'd. But there we go. The damage is done. Is it going to be enough, though? I think T2, they are slowly crumbling. There are 3 Pokemon down. Dodrio likely to be the next one. He will be taken down. That's going to be it. Rayquaza should go in favor of High Five unless Supercell can somehow get the last hit onto the Rayquaza, and it looks like that's not going to be it. So
yeah, it's not going to be it.
So all the points going to be going in favor of High Five. T2, can they deny them from getting to these jump pads, right? Break the shields and then stop them from getting those easy points. That's already a 100 dunk there from the Dragonite. They need to continue 4 Pokemon defending from T2 in that top lane.
It's all down to that Sableye, how much he could possibly do. He
They
managed
need
to
to run.
score in, and there's managed to get the catch, but it's still not going to be enough. Just look at the split coming
They
from
needed the
Shifu as
Eldegoss
well.
to score. Eldegoss has 50 points. This Pokemon is about to go down. Oh my goodness, that Snorlax trying his best to try and protect the Eldegoss. That's their healing, that's their shielding. They're going to turn around. T2 slowly going down. They're not scoring points, but now Sableye is going to run. He's got 48 and he can try and break that bottom jump pad by himself. No one's there to defend. And right now, is it going to be enough?
Is it going to be?
No, it won't be enough. He needs to get at least another 10. Oh, no, I think that's it.
Yeah,
That's
everybody's already by the final go zone.
Oh my goodness.
And Icarus is going to wait by the doors. He does not care. Well, Supercell is just going to put in a mere 6-pointer. That's never going to be cutting it close.
No.
7:15, that's the number to beat. Now there's only 10 more seconds on the clock. High five here to upset T2, the ones who have made it to the WCS as the clock draws to a close. And with 2 games in a row, High Five will take all 3 points in the matchup.
After that, they'll be high-fiving after that match as well. I mean, this was a pretty rough 8 minutes for the team. They were struggling. They were under so much threat on the side of T2, but it ultimately came down to that Rayquaza fight. And I really, really felt like for T2, things went down. I think it was was it Haruta or Hibachi that went down first? I think it was Hibachi. He was alone by himself towards the top section of Rayquaza. He got sniped, and then T2 tried to come in and pincer from the back. But without Hibachi frontlining and tanking for you, you sort of lost that ultimate bulk for your team.
Exactly, and then on top of that, High Five, what do they excel at? Team fights in general, and that's where you see them pincering them into this left corner of the center zone, and then I felt like T2 kind of got pulled into this vacuum overall where they have to make the decision. Do they really want to commit to that fight? And of course, as a team, you will have to pick either or, and they choose to fight.
Yep.
Although the odds weren't exactly in their favor, but it was still a great attempt. We see T2 leading initially until that fight. So if they managed to get that turnaround, perhaps if they were a little bit more patient with the Rayquaza, it could have basically cut it for T2.
Yeah, I don't feel like they really needed to rush into Rayquaza because they were the ones that had Sableye. They were the ones that had Dodrio. They could have, run into the side lanes, just dunked a couple points quite easily just because of how mobile they are. But I guess they were just trying to bait in High Five and maybe knock them out right at the beginning of that 2-minute mark. That really felt like it. Maybe okay, here's the thing. Sometimes when you play Azumarill as well, you get a little bit excited because of the Aqua Tail healing, right? If you hit Pokemon, you're able to get your health back. And he was also in a very small, narrow opening as well. So we thought, oh, if they're going to funnel in to this area, I can get those big Aqua Tails off. I can heal off all this damage.
Not when there's 5 Pokemon.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta rein it in a little bit when you're that Azumarill, okay? Yes, you are a very strong Pokemon, but you will not be able to 1v5 in most circumstances. So I kind of feel like that maybe happened as well, just getting a little too overconfident, thinking that your lead is much bigger than it really was. But yeah, T2, I mean, this is not a team to sneeze at. I think they are a fantastic team. They made a great comeback in this game too. It was just they weren't able to close it out in that end game where they really, really needed it.
Yeah, on this recap, we definitely see that to absolutely thrive on those pickoffs that they've had so far. And basically, it's of course the job of Supercell that's been able to find all these picks all together, and then came this High Five team fight, which not only did they get their hands onto the Registeel, like they've actually got a few members of T2 knocked out, then they at least regained control of the bottom zones in particular, and that gave them a little bit more edge to basically control one of these team fights.
Yeah, I found this one pretty bizarre. I mean, they had the Alola Ninetales in that top lane. I'm not sure if it was just maybe trying to farm a little bit more experience. Could have come down to the bottom lane. Had plenty of time to do so. But I guess they did try and emphasize more on trying to get those levels levels, you wanting to get those leveled up abilities as well, right? Like when you get those extra bonuses on some of the moves, your Pokemon just suddenly becomes something different. But we're going to see the Azumarill in that top lane, right? Like so far away from the team, tried to go in and just gets blown up.
Yeah, and there's just no stopping High Five from that point onwards, and Ikuro was so prepared to respond yet again, where basically T2 was forced to even go deeper into the jungle territories of High Five, and that allows...
They didn't... That's what I don't understand, though. Like, they didn't have to be there.
Exactly.
Right? And they were in a very aggressive position. It wasn't defensive at all. I'm not saying that they're not supposed to play aggressive. It's just sometimes you need vision to figure out where the opponents are. Are you in a good position to try and play aggressively? Because we saw, like, ultimately the team fight, it looked like it was so easy for High Five. They have so much AoE.
Yeah. All in all, I would say that this final matchup in this series was a really close call from T2's side, where it's boiling down to that one team fight in particular, which if only there was a little bit more composure for that Rayquaza fight.
Well, it could be the Rayquaza factor. You know, everyone gets a little bit antsy when you're around the Rayquaza pit because you know how easily the game can turn, especially once a team has taken that Rayquaza. So who knows? It could be the game one tournament jitters, the Rayquaza jitters. We don't really know what happens with the players until we talk to them. Now, unfortunately, I don't believe there's going to be interviews. So if anyone that's looking forward to those, we're so sorry. But we will not be having interviews. But what we will be having is our next matchup really soon. But before that, though, I do believe we're going to go for a bit of a break, let the players get into the lobby. But Contra, I think it's been a great day so far. Unfortunate that it was a 2-0, but I'm looking forward to this next matchup.
I would say it's a great start where we basically gauge the power levels overall of each respective regions, and High Five now will be up the charts out there. So let's take a look at the updated bracket of the league tables of East Asia. So with the defeat of T2, they will only score just about 1 pointer, as we see out there, or should I say?
Those are the rankings.
Oh yeah, my bad. I was a little confused for a moment. So no points whatsoever for T2 because they lost both matches.
Yep.
3 points in for High Five. So congratulations to them being the leaders of the chart.
Oh goodness. I mean, this is just the first game of the day, the first tournament game. I think a lot of the teams, after seeing that matchup, they're going to be getting ready to jump into their games. But I think if you're T2, you definitely need to think about your next matchups, because ultimately, if you're going to lose a series, you want to lose it after completing a full 3-game series, right? Because you want that single point. Every series you lose where it's a 2-0, it's a big detriment, and it's also going to take you one step closer to being eliminated from that tournament, or at least not making it to the next stage, right, which is going to be the LAN finals. So T2 got a lot of things to look at. Of course, they're probably going to watch this next matchup because they also want to get a feel of everyone else that's playing, right? What Pokemon are currently popular? What Pokemon is this player good at? What Pokemon should we be banning? Because after that matchup, I'm very sure the teams are going to have a pretty good idea as to what to ban against High Five.
Yeah, and with that being said, we'll definitely want to take a look at whether or not if High Five can continue that winning streak overall in the course of the league itself, and then for T2 to pick themselves up after, of course, an upsetting defeat where they had some glimmer of successful team fights, but there's still a few more things that they definitely have to work on. As we saw, there were a few mistakes that were maybe made along the way, but hey, every mistake is a lesson for everybody to learn from. So with that, there's also other teams that have yet to play their games. Now, we do get small reference points out of the many, so later on, I want to see who's coming up next.
Well, I also want to see if we're going to start seeing some new Pokemon, right? Because we've had 2 series so far. We've had a couple of returning faces, but we did see some new Pokemon, right? We saw the Urshifu. We had that banned in the first game. We started seeing the Dodrio. We're seeing a lot of Sableye, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that Sableye. Are we going to be seeing some more Snorlax? Are we ever going to see Mew? Because I'm very sure this Pokemon is more or less a permaban because it's just too versatile.
Yeah, like I just love playing Mew. I was basically going with so many of all these options. Like you want to coach somebody, you want to put up another wall like Mr. Mime, just go ahead. And
You need to agility surf away.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do with the Mew. I mean, personally, I don't think Mew's ever going to make an appearance. You know, that's almost like permaban.
Maybe not now, but at some point, perhaps on the
I'd like to
gauntlet
see it.
rounds,
Maybe.
that's where it might just be unleashed.
I mean, I'd like to see Dragapult. I think a lot of people are waiting to see how this Pokemon performs in competitive because I feel like so far Dragapult has had a very interesting intro, I guess, to the game. Like in pubs, he seems very underwhelming and weak, but then I'm hearing news from some of the teams where Dragapult's actually really great in competitive organized scrims. And I want to see it in scrims. I want to see this Pokemon succeed because I think a lot of people were excited to see Dragapult added to the game. We want to see this Pokemon succeed because it's just so unique.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've already seen Scissor in action, or should I say Scyther,
Yeah.
but I want to see another Pokemon in specific, Buzzwole. I mean,
Oh, because you want to see the Buzzwole. I think a
want
lot
to
of
see
people
more
do.
muscles on the field.
More muscles.
Machamp
Oh my
versus
gosh.
Buzzle?
More muscles. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting choice of words there, Contra. But I mean, I think it would be cool. I'd love to see him in the new Battle Pass Holoware, right? Good stuff. Good stuff. I didn't get it though because I don't play Buzzwole.
You should. You should.
I don't have Buzzwole actually. I have coins. I could buy it, but I'm still thinking if I want it or if there's like another Pokemon coming out that I want. So I'm saving my coins. I'm thinking.
Don't think. By the time you play a lot more games, like you'll have just about enough points. It works that
Eventually. Well, okay, here's the thing. I did not get lucky with the most recent event. So I think a lot of you trainers out there are going to know what I'm talking about. I think it was like the New Year's wheel, you know, where you had the chance to actually get 100,000 coins.
way. Yeah.
I didn't get 100,000.
Neither did I.
So I didn't get 100,000 and I didn't get 10,000. But I got 1,000. So I'm probably like, what, 10?
This is something.
I'm 10% of the way for a Pokemon that's 10,000 coins.
It's okay. Gotta
I'm
work
so
hard
sad
for it.
though. I was hoping at least get like the 10k, then I could have maybe gotten someone off the. It's fine.
But
I'll
it's
just be sad
okay.
by myself.
Speaking of getting stuff, though, if you guys are here hanging out with us on Twitch, make sure you go ahead to link in your stream elements, and with all the points that you gather in the channel, you could redeem some real life rewards if you're into Pokemon trading cards and maybe some merchandises. You want to basically exchange those points in order to reward yourself with a potential prize along the way.
Yeah, so if you're a little bit confused on what's going on, I do believe there should be a link in the description for whatever stream you're watching. This is for our giveaway. We are rewarding all of our amazing viewers who have been very loyal, that's been tuning into the broadcasts. We've got a variety of things to give away. If you want to enter, make sure you are signing up with your Twitch and your Stream Elements account. I do believe you need both to be eligible. So make sure you register. It's free. This is absolutely free. So if you do want to enter, please do so because there's absolutely no cost on your end and you've only got things to gain, really.
Exactly. And of course, if you guys really want to keep up to speed with all the things that's going on the chat as well, you should be able to see a link for you to basically read all about the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League for each respective region, East Asia, Southeast Asia, as well as India.
Yes, so make sure you keep that handy as well. Bookmark it. I do suggest it because if you need any information, that little, if you think about it, that little competitive Pokedex is what you're going to need if you do want some more information. So highly recommend it. But Contra, I do believe we're going to be jumping into our next matchup after this break. Now, we are still waiting for some more confirmation on whether we are going to go for this break or if we're going to be waiting for these teams. So if anyone that is wondering, I do suggest if you want to go to the toilet and have a break now, you should do it now. This is actually the best time to do it, you know. Go to the toilet, grab some snacks, grab a drink, maybe call some friends, you know, watch the tournament together because we've still got another best of 3 coming up.
Exactly, and for what we have seen from that first game itself, I think like we will expect the competition to be even more stiffer coming in from all the other trainers that have prepared for so long.
So, you are talking about Asia. I think Asia is probably the most competitive Pokemon region I have ever seen in my entire life. It doesn't matter what game it is. If it's a Pokemon game, Asia is there. So, I think we're pretty lucky to be able to cover this region.
Yeah, and not only that, I think like I feel really lucky as well that the finals for the whole ACL will not be too far from home because it's going to be happening around March in Malaysia. So,
Well, technically here, because we're in Malaysia. Contra talking about.
well, I don't know where I'll be in the next few months, but like, yep.
Oh, I see. So you're going to have a holiday in Japan. Okay.
Not exactly
Noted.
so.
Noted.
Thailand.
Noted.
I wish it was Japan.
You wish it was Japan. Well, you know what? The next Pokemon event is going to be in Japan this year, so that's actually really exciting. I think a lot of us are looking forward to it. But aside that, we're not talking about Japan. We're not talking about anything else. We are going to be talking about the Asia Champions League. So, yeah. So, are there any weird Pokemon you want to see? I want to see Mamoswine. I can't believe Mamoswine hasn't appeared yet because this is so popular in ranked mode.
I won't really say there's something that's really weird in particular, but if there's anything I want to see these competitive players play, I don't know if I'm just gonna put a finger on it. Maybe I've not seen any Zoroark in competitive yet, so I think that's something to look forward to if anyone wants to go ahead with that challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be pretty interesting. I know for a fact that Pokemon is just terrifying when you play against it. Oh, I'm just not a fan of playing up against those Zoroarks. But what can you do? You know, everyone likes to pick some funky central areas, and I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'll just have to deal with this now. Have to deal with my lane partner and then the central area. But speaking of, we are going to go for a break, it seems. So as always, if you have to go to the toilet, do so now. Grab your snacks, your drinks, but make sure you're back in 5 minutes because once you return, we'll jump into our second and final best of 3 of the day. We'll see all of you trainers after this. trainers, and welcome back to the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League. We've just finished up our first series of the day, which means we're going to jump into our second best of 3. And unfortunately, I'm going to be the bad person here. Unfortunately, unfortunately, it is our final best of 3 of the day because we do only play 2 best of 3s per competitive day. And we are here with East Asia. If you're wanting to tune in to Southeast Asia and India, those regions will be happening on Saturday and Sunday. But don't leave, because East Asia is just as fun, if not maybe a little bit more fun. Because my expectation coming into the tournament is that I think East Asia is likely maybe the most competitive region out of all the regions.
Arguably, some of the best teams of the world are actually playing here across Asia in general, and therefore you definitely don't want to miss a single game overall, and there's many ways you can keep up to speed with what's going on in the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League East Asia, and also for regions like Southeast Asia as well as India. So, of course, we'll definitely provide you with all the links necessary for you to check it out all out.
Yeah, so check out the app if you do want to know when's your upcoming matchup, when your favorite teams are playing, because it's going to have the dates, the times, everything you need, and even the score lines for the matches that you may have unfortunately missed. But super exciting stuff. Make sure you remember. Now, we're going to be jumping into our next matchup of the day, Pokemon Trainers. It is going to be between the teams Secret Ship and Eternity.
That's right, on Secret Ship we have Yakubari, Piu, Liz, Yaku, as well as Obuyan. I believe that I've seen Obuyan in action before. I'm happy to see him here playing in the Asia Champions League altogether. So he's definitely one player to look out for, where he's been a veteran in many different kinds of games that he's played. And now on Pokemon Unite, I believe that he's going to be able to dictate the pace for Secret Ship. Meanwhile, for Eternity, who do we have?
We have Divel, Heron, Hanaka, Wulon, and Jandi as our participating trainers on the side of Eternity. Now, again, this is going to be more of a debut competition tournament match for these teams. They want to get a feel of each other, because for anyone that's tuning into the broadcast and you didn't manage to catch the beginning of the show, we are currently playing in draft mode. Every Pokemon is available to play, and emblems are enabled. Yes, emblems are enabled. I think a lot of people are going to find this confusing, because in the previous season, emblems were not enabled. Now they are, which means we're going to have some extra things working behind the scenes, especially when we're going into these games. If there could be movement speed involved, extra health, extra attack. Yeah, there are so many things to consider now, and emblems, you can't check emblems after a game. So if you're going up against...
That's the secret sauce.
That's the secret sauce. So when you're going up against some of these Pokemon, you might not realize, like, oh, this person's doing extra damage. They've got extra 4% health. They've got... maybe they're looking at a negative special attack bonus from their emblems. Like, there are so many things that can happen, and you just don't know about it.
Yeah, and I think like this makes it a whole lot more competitive, because you could basically customize your own settings, and that really gives you an edge on how the outcome of the battle will turn out, whether if you're playing a tankier Pokemon or if you're going for all-out offenses. Like, you can basically stack it all up, whether if you're on attacker, all-rounder, or even on, support for even more of those utilities. So, of course,
or
it's
the elusive
exciting.
speedster, like
Exactly.
That's almost like the role just doesn't exist. Elusive speedster.
I'm sorry I missed that out. All right, of course, there's a lot of exciting things that are coming up here on the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League. And, of course, we start off in East Asia, where you've already mentioned it before, one of the most competitive region in the world.
Yeah, and these two regions in particular, maybe not high five because they're in Taiwan, but Korea and Japan, these two regions are very frequently just going up against each other, right? Because you've got the winter tournament that's always happening every couple months. And so with that, they're always going to be on top of each other when it comes to the meta, when it comes to Pokemon choices, when it comes to player preferences, right? Because when you play Pokemon Unite, it's not just about what the teams that you're going up against are picking, it's also your preference. Like, what are the Pokemon you good at? Should you pick this Pokemon and force the opponents to react to you? Because you can play counters, but if you're not good on those particular counter Pokemon, what's the point of playing them?
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. So we definitely put all the trainers to a test where how well do you know how to basically utilize and of course train those Pokemons in general.
What? You're training yourself, actually.
You're training yourself so that you can train your Pokemon better. It always starts with you, right?
I suppose, sure. I mean, if you're training the Pokemon, you're technically getting ribbons.
Yeah. And with that being said, High Five have shown us earlier that they have what it takes to even defeat teams coming in from either Japan or even the Korea region overall.
Hey, it's early, okay?
It's still early. I know.
Still early.
I'm not trying to like
all right,
rain on your parade. I know you're a fangirl of some of all these
here's the
teams
thing.
out there.
I try and go into these tournaments and be as neutral as possible. So firstly, I'm just impressed by High Five. That's it. I'm not fangirling anybody. I'm just impressed.
I'm on the hype train though. I mean, High Five. They've been looking good. 2 games in a row. Okay.
Yeah.
High five.
Okay, cool. There we go. That's why I have team names like that. You know, you can do some crazy stuff.
Exactly. And now, of course, we have to steer the ship back here on this upcoming.
Secret. Actually, how can you steer the ship when it's a secret?
Well, that's a secret that we don't talk about, right?
No, I love these
So,
puns.
I guess, like, of course, it's a new year. It's a clean slate for everybody out there. So, it's really down to what the idea is overall for each respective team. So, Secret Ship, though we may not have seen them all too much, but some of these teams actually come in from the opens itself, and then for Secret Ship, I think like they've been able to pull off a lot of tremendous stints to be able to get here. So overall, I did mention about Obuyan, but the rest of the squad definitely holds their own together. We expect a lot of team fighting coming in from this side of the coin. Meanwhile, of course, the opposing team is not going to be any slouches anyways.
No, I mean, everyone playing in the tournament, they made it here for a reason.
They have credentials.
They have the credentials. I mean, they were invited based on the credentials. So for anyone that's wondering how the teams were actually invited to the Asia Champions League, they were invited based on one of 2 things, okay? The first team is that this team participated at the World Championships last year in London. And I think there are basically 4 of the teams in East Asia are basically WCS teams. I think in Southeast Asia it's 1, and then in India it's also 1. And then the other way to get into the tournament was to qualify from the appropriate regional open. So for anyone that didn't know, there were a couple of open tournaments. I know that I myself, I was able to broadcast the Malaysia Open. There was a Filipino Open. There was an Indian Open. There was an open for basically all the extra regions, right? And the teams that won those tournaments would qualify or at least be invited to this tournament. The only other teams that did not come first and qualified were the Indian teams, right? Because India's one place. You can't have multiple opens for that. So it was the champion and then the remaining 3 teams. So Revenant, who was the WCS team, automatically qualified, and they came second in that tournament. So 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place teams for the Indian Open were the ones that qualified to the Indian Regional League.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's how the teams got in, if anyone was wondering, because this is an invitational tournament, right? These teams get invited. But speaking of invited teams, let's jump back to East Asia because we're just about ready to jump into our second matchup, Contra.
Exactly. 2 WCS teams going up against each other. So you know this is about to be good.
Yeah,
so,
Japan
with that being
versus
said,
Korea.
Yep. And this is just the showing of powerhouses, right? Like which region is stronger than the other. Well, technically, sure, it's still going to be on the round robin stages.
Yeah.
I believe that certain teams will also hold some of their cards in order to keep some strats for the gauntlet run. So
can they keep the cards though? Because I'm very
the question
sure.
is for how long?
Yeah, I mean,
keep it?
We don't know how much data these teams have of each other. Like, very likely that Secret Ship and Eternity have clashed against each other recently. Heck, I'm very sure these teams have played against each other in pubs, right? Because they're in the same region. So it will be very, like, these players are frequently playing up against each other. I don't know if their data is public on the Unite API site to check for stats. I'd be genuinely curious to see if it is, because I'd love to know what Pokemon everyone is training on. But it looks like we're just about ready to jump into the game, Contra.
This is the best way to find out what type of Pokemon will they be going for, and therefore let's start off with the initial phase of the bats, as both sides are taking their time to see what will be removed from play. This time, we'll start off with Sableye being banned by Eternity.
Of course, it's a Sableye.
Urshifu for his secret chip.
Yep, and we're seeing these are very popular Pokemon at this point in time, right? You've got the Scizor / Scyther, likely going to be Scyther on the side of Eternity, but we take a look at Secret Ship. They're going to go straight for that Snorlax and maybe the Dodrio.
Yeah, admittedly being locked in, so it will be confirmed. And it looks like it won't be too hard of a shift in terms of the meta Pokemons that we saw in the very first series, but are they going to give us what we want here?
I was hoping it was going to be...
Delphox.
I thought it was going to be Tyranitar. I was super excited, but it's okay. So, Delphox, this is going to be a debut of this Pokemon for the tournament. I'm looking forward to it because they're being backed up by a Blissey. You've got frontliners such as Snorlax and Dodrio. These Pokemon are going to keep everyone on the side of Eternity busy, whereas on the side of Eternity, you're going to have to jump into the backlines if you want to catch the Delphox. And now, you also have to deal with a Glaceon.
Yeah.
Glaceon, very scary Pokemon. I think the best way to describe this Pokemon is that it is an assassin. It can deal so much damage in such a short period of time, and the only way you can really stop this is to have someone jump on top of the Glaceon and either burst it down or stun it. And that's going to be where Woolen and Hanukkah are going to have to be really focused on jumping on top of that Glaceon.
Exactly, and we see a pretty well-rounded side for both end of the teams. Eternity will definitely have to rely on this Alone Ninetales as well as Scizor to do most of the work, first providing a little bit more room for the Aegis Slash by Wallon to be able to work their way throughout all these team fights. But you mentioned about the burst and everything else, and we've seen what Snorlaxes can do in the past series. Let's see, what will they have to offer? It's Eternity versus Secret Chip.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually think I favor Secret Ship's lineup a little bit more. Like, they've got a great combination of frontliners and backliners. They had the sustain from that Blissey, and they've also got a way to really power up any one of these Pokemon that can do so much damage. So we'll have to see if Eternity has a solution to this. Are they gonna invade the jungle? Are they maybe going to try and pressure these mid laners? We'll find out in just a second, but for now we just have a bit of a tussle as, well, not too much is gonna be happening. Just some small Pokemon, no early KOs. But Glaceon already on the field, but you still want to focus on levels. You don't really want to start fighting as Glaceon until you have both of your upgraded abilities. And I'm curious to see what kind of Glaceon this is.
Yeah, and we've already seen the very first knockout onto the Dodrio, so it's going to halt members of Secret Chip for a little bit for the time being. Yakubari isn't exactly going to be waiting for more hits to come by. Obuyan, though, will have a little bit more wiggle room to work with until he does get that evolution into the Dodrio. That's where you see him putting more work on the map.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I love seeing the little Doduo. They're just so adorable. It's like they got little marbles for eyes. But now we're gonna be seeing some pressure here coming in from both teams, and
huge damage on Wallon.
Yeah, you got to be so careful as Wallon. Until you're fully evolved, you are a very easy target. And ooh, nice little steal there. Nicely timed. But Abuyan, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to be doing on that Dodrio. And is Hanukkah maybe going to be on his case? It looks like it, but no, that's going to be the Safeguard. Safeguard Blissey is going to be an issue for Eternity because Safeguard prevents Pokemon from being stunned. And that's what you need on Secret Ship. If you can prevent these Pokemon from being stunned, they can keep doing their thing, they can keep attacking, and that means that Eternity, they lose that form of control.
Exactly, and so long as this Blissey could basically peel all these discrepancies coming in from Eternity, they should be able to eventually weed off most of the opposing members as they are battling for a little bit more of the chaos of getting chased, but it's the Dodrio that they're chasing onto. Not going to land too many hits though. Therefore, back onto a neutral state. Both sides pretty much even up with Secret Ship only scoring about 6 points.
Surprised at how slow this game is.
Yeah.
Both teams being very slow, very methodical, not being too aggressive, trying to get those points, just mainly focusing on those levels. And I don't know if I like this 100% from Secret Ship, I was really expecting this team to be hyper-aggressive, but maybe this is when it happens now.
This is it.
They've got all their abilities. There was a beautiful stun coming in from that Snorlax, but he's quickly losing his health. If he doesn't turn around real soon, he's going to need some kind of healing. He'll be okay, but no Pokemon go down.
Yeah, everyone's so calculated in all these small scuffles, and we're going to look at how big of a team fight it will be on this Regis. So
that's the worst Reggie of all the Regis.
How dare you say it's the worst?
It doesn't give you a defensive or attack bonus. It's the heal. But here we go. We have a jump in from that Snorlax. It looks like this might just be it. They're not on the jump pad. They've got to be so careful. Mr. Mime, though, luckily not going to be sniped down there from that Glaceon. We do get a bit of a heal there from Gaoban on that Snorlax. But now it looks like everyone's healed back up on Eternity. They're going to come back. But the Regice is healing. They couldn't get the snipe, and now they're going to re-enter this fight. Secret Ship looking to sink Eternity if they can. It's a battle of the ships, and unfortunately Eternity, they didn't come with a boat, they came with a raft. It's now going to come down to Woolen. Maybe he can get the steal, the stuns. Oh, yeah, he got this for the turnaround. Oh, so brave.
Wow.
So brave.
What a play by Woolen. Overall, managing to knock a few Pokemons out of Secret Ship and still managing to steal that away.
Oh,
that's a really huge play, I would say, coming out from Eternity.
I call that win on.
Yeah. More points to be gathered up towards the goal post. Well, there's more of these retaliation coming in.
Secret Ship are coming in, but they've lost the Delphox. And Dodrio really thinking about this fight. He's going to try and go for the back score instead. So the team, they're just going to retreat. They've lost a big source of damage. And don't get caught. Don't get caught. Obuyan, run, Obuyan, run.
How much space does he have till he's running further and further into Eternity's back of the base, so
oh, goodness.
he's trying to survive, but all they have to do is just to deny him any form of EXP and they're good.
Uh-oh, what's this cartoon called? It's a Coyote and was it Woodrunner? Oh my goodness, I don't know, I'm a little bit too old for this. It just reminded me of that show. Tom and Jerry, that as well.
Seems like that.
Oh, there we go, nice heavy slam there from that Snorlax, wanting to prevent the Alolan Ninetales from doing anything, but they've come in and Regieleki gets stolen. Eternity again getting the objective. Secret Ship, they're just committing so much, but they can't get those last hits in. So painful.
Yeah, even though they managed to get it, well, they still have members being stacked up, so the Regieleki won't be able to crash right in.
They're coming.
There is so much offense coming in where they're hoping to pick off the Blissey, but Wulong will have to pull all the way back.
Oh! Beautiful stun there from the Snorlax. Prevents Eternity from getting that clean escape. And now are they just going to be chased down by all of these Pokemon? They've already lost the Alolan Ninetales. Mr. Mime's going to be sitting in the back lines. Just going to go for the Unite move, wanting to go the stun. The damage, not enough to take down that Glaceon. Like Glaceon luckily able to slip on out of there. But they're still sticking around. Eternity, they're saying, we're here to fight forever. That's our team motto, and so far they're doing fantastic and surviving.
It's just ridiculous how Wulong has been so much on his toes every single team fight, and we see him surviving most of the brunt of the damage that was put out by Secret Ship, and that's going to be a huge problem leading into even later fights. And currently Secret Ship, though they may have struggled for a little bit, they managed to still put in a few more points. Reggie's still now up online. Heron's just going to secure a little bit more wiggle room for them. Gakubari, though, gets a little bit more of that body slam going down.
Ooh!
Oh, all up in the air.
Yeah, it looks like Registeel is going to be on Secret Ship side for a little bit. But here we go. Everyone is here. The only two missing Pokemon is that Aegis/and Doduo. They're going to be the Dodrio. They're going to be fighting in the middle of that lane so far. But this Registeel is still open. But luckily for Eternity, they haven't lost too much health. Oh, but they lost the Dodrio. He just got into the fight. Beautiful play from that Scyther. And now is it going to be a retreat on the side of Secret Ship? Can they get that final hit? They do. They finally get it. And it's an attack boost as well. So if Eternity don't get out of here, they could potentially get knocked out. But no, both teams retreating. Secret Ship happy with their spoils. They're going to go look up this suitcase in the hull of their ship.
I just love how mechanical both teams are overall. Eternity, they saw a few opening chances out there, but those huge teamfight plays coming in from that Snorlax opens up so much room for them to be able to at least steal that one back. Though we saw the Dodrio fell off really short. The moment he arrived, he got punished.
He arrived to base, Contra. That's
Yeah.
what's happened. But I want to sort of discuss what might be a bit of an issue here for Secret Ship, right? Like something that we're seeing is that the initiation is purely on Snorlax, right? Like if Snorlax
Indeed.
can't get the initiation, then Eternity just sort of turn on things. Like how are you going into this game as Secret Ship, Contra? Like how can you fix
You
this?
should look for a counter, but here
Like
we go.
this? Oh, they're going for it. They managed to get the snipe off onto 2 Pokemon. Both supports going to be down. And that's going to be Rayquaza. He's just spawned in. They've also lost the Ninetales. That means all you need to do with your Secret Ship is either quickly take down this Rayquaza, prevent it from being stolen, or delay. And it's Wallen. He's going to go in as this Aegis Slash, but he's all alone. His teammates are coming in. Can they come fast enough? I don't think they can. They're even Unite moving, and that's not going to be enough. Then, like, this game is just going to go in favor of Secret Ship. If they can break these shields, this game could be turned around.
Yeah, and Eternity, they have so little time left on the clock as well. Look, with all these buff coming from the Rayquaza, there's nothing stopping Gakubari from scoring another 100 coming in
A
for
big
Secret
old
Ship.
Hundo. No, he's not.
Oh, okay.
He Unite moved.
Oh, no! He's gonna be taken down!
He couldn't get the points in, but it's okay though. 366 points on the side of
Safe
Secret
enough.
Ship and only 87 on the side of Eternity. Now remember, if anyone scores a hundo in that top T1, that's going to be 100 points. A lot of places Secret Ship have to defend.
And Gakubari is just gonna break wallet though, so there's no alternatives for Eternity. And that stretch down bottom is gonna be so long.
Look at Abuya, and he's like, I'm going to quickly score this hundo here.
Yeah, he's just waiting for it, right? Like he's got a 50 to
not?
book out.
He's a Dodrio. This is his
Yeah.
job. Score those points, and then we go. And he has the shield as well. And here we go. Eternity so desperate to get these points, sitting on top of the gold pads as well. But they couldn't even get the Delphox. 3 Pokemon down. Looks like this might just be it. Eternity, complete wipe. 20 seconds left on this clock. Secret Ship, what an opening match.
Gakubari, probably the man to do it all for the teams. With Secret Ship having him to initiate, you were asking, when is it going to be time? We see the Snorlax jumping into play, and the moment you ask, he delivered. So congratulations to Secret Ship. They'll be the team to score the first point in this best of 3.
So far, we're just seeing so many influential plays being made by Snorlax. Yeah, I mean, we've seen 3 games, and I think in every single game, right? In the High Five game, in this game as well, Snorlax is just such an influential Pokemon. And I think teams are going to have to try and figure out, how do you deal with this Pokemon, right? Firstly, he's so tanky. He's hard to burst down. He's got so many ways of starting Pokemon up. He can block you off of the jump pad. He's got Heavy Slam as well, which is an AoE disable. What do you do against this giant Pokemon?
Well, I guess there is one alternative that they could basically pull off it, which is to ban the Pokemon in the next drafting phase itself.
But
then
that
maybe
means other Pokemon get through.
Yeah, and that also means that there is that potential for, Urshifu as well as either Mew to be left on the table, which nobody's willing to let those picks to cut across. And I think that there's a few things that we could take away from this matchup in particular for Eternity. Sure, they did manage to rely on Wolon to make some plays happen, but
I
most
think
often than not,
it was too much, I think, of
Yeah.
Woolen's shoulders, right? Like, there's only so much you can do as an Aegis Slash, and
of them zoning away members of Secret Ship on these Registeel attempts, and there was just no option for Secret Ship to even answer back. Sure, there's that Regieleki just about to be taken down. Obuyan
then they
having
get out.
sniffed out again. Wallon will be chased after.
they should get out. There's 40 seconds left for this Rayquaza, so if they manage to survive, but then they go down right as it spawns, this could be a mistake. So Woolen goes down, Hanukkah goes down. That's the XP. You don't want to lose that experience.
But they're going to come back just about nick of time. There's still 27 seconds left, and of course,
the
last
Regirock.
Regirock has appeared. Obuyan tries to solo it off, and there's no members of Eternity to answer back. Eventually, they may do so, but they will have to also prepare for the Rayquaza that's coming up, so they're
Look at
not going to
Snorlax.
risk for their lives. So they are now going for those setups. So what sort of big plays should Secret Ship come up with in order to stop Eternity, who's currently leading?
Well, it really comes down to Snorlax, right? Can he get those big, heavy slams? They're going to be going into the Mr. Mime first. He blocks the wrong way. Bit of a misclick there. Oh boy, it really, initiation, Contra, right? It's the battle of initiation. Who gets it? They don't get Woolen, but they're doing so much damage to him. They're healing him up with the Mr. Mime, but they don't have big burst heals. And look at all those Unite moves. Now Alola Ninetales all alone. Will eject button out, gets the berry as well. That's the speed boost. Now it's going to be Secret Ship pushing everyone back on Eternity, but they have the healing. They've got the movement speed bonus. This Delphox doing so much work, and Hanukkah trying to come in from the back lines. If he gets knocked out, this is going to be a big mistake. Hanukkah has to get out. Oh my goodness, Hanukkah. This man is playing with my heartstrings. He is still alive. Oh, and look at this. Rayquaza is happening in the back lines, but can they take it? Heavy Slam is there. Rayquaza gets taken by Eternity. Oh no, it was Secret Ship. Was it Secret? Wait, I can't. Yes, it is Eternity.
I believe it's Eternity. They will continue to try here, racing in for every single point that they have. And all the time being bought from Eternity with them chasing onto Wall has all paid off. 565 points, and they're here to stop everyone else marching in. Secret Ship, they only have so little time left, but they are looking every looking cranny in order to score all these points up. Can they do it? They're looking at the top end of the goal zones, and there is Divil on the way.
Oh, they're going to try and go for this goal here. 28 points on the clock. They will be able to get 1 KO so far. Alola Ninetales done and dusted. But look at this. Scyther coming in. Hanukkah getting 1 KO, but no, he's going to go down as well. 17 seconds. They've got 2 Pokemon that they have to get rid of. And look at this Woolen. He's ready to jump onto that goal pad if he needs to. No, he's actually in the middle lane trying to ward off that Dodrio.
They have lots of points.
I don't know if that's enough. I don't think so. It was only 90 points. It was 12 points from the Dodrio. I don't think it's enough.
Oh,
I don't think it's enough.
We just have to take a look at it, though. Such a close fight from both ends.
Oh, my goodness.
Secret Ship has lost control by the end of it all. And we'll have to see, is it going to be enough? And yet again, by the end of the run, Eternity will still get the lead only by an 80-point margin.
Can I say, Hanukkah played with his life around that Rayquaza pit. The fact that he was able to draw the entire Secret Ship lineup to their own central area, that chase was enough time for Eternity to take down the Rayquaza. And I think Secret Ship, when they turned around, they saw what's happening. They thought, oh my goodness, guys, they're taking Rayquaza. We've got to turn back. We've got to fight into this. And chaos happened.
That has to be the best match that we've seen so far for day one of the ACL, and this Asia Champions League can only get better. So now both teams are tied at 1 point apiece.
Yep.
It's time to settle the scores and the next round, but we have finally
Hanukah's getting banned. I'm saying it. Hanukah's getting banned. This man is not allowed to play Scyther again.
There's a very good reason why Scissor has been banned by other teams overall. So now we get to see it. The main reason why, right? Hanukkah has been so effective. The Cypher has been able to do so much in that early game, even getting ahead in most of all these early game battles. But that was not it. I mean, you were absolutely right. That chase shouldn't have happened.
He shouldn't have. He should have been KO'd. He should have been KO'd. But the fact that he was able to
mobility is too much.
Yeah, he just wriggled out of there. He was like, all eyes on me, you know, sayonara. He had the target on his back, you know. He's like, chase me. It's like one of those oh goodness, what's it called in Spain where they have the bullfighting, you know, with the little red flag, you know. It's like, take me instead.
Well, it was exciting to witness how both teams have been able to just get themselves a win on each respective matchup, but all in all, the bottom lane fight have seen Eternity taking most of the lead because of the amount of room and space that they've garnered, and all thanks to this Mr. Mime as well.
Yeah, oh my goodness. The Mr. Mime, I think just having the combo of not just Mr. Mime, but also Eldegoss, providing the team so much sustain, because we saw, right, they almost got zoned out by Secret Ship around that Rayquaza pit. There was so much damage. They were able to heal it back up. They didn't have to teleport back to the fountain, and they could just re-engage into these fights. But oh my goodness, I didn't originally have this much faith in Eternity. I didn't think they would play this good. I thought maybe they'll scrape by because we saw how bomb-proof Secret Ship were. But clearly this team proved us wrong. Hanukkah proving why Scyther is a Pokemon that's likely going to be sitting at, like, I want to say a 50% ban rate.
50%.
50. I say 50 because I think some teams are going to value some Pokemon.
They want to open up their options as well. I mean, would you rather have a Urshifu or Scyther to be on your side?
I think Mew's a perm ban though. Like, I'm just never going to see Mew.
I really want to also give props to Eternity.
Oh, I think we're going to see it here. Hang on. We have to see this, right?
This play where Secret Ship was trying to set up is to basically have the rest of Eternity being put up on a choke point, and then you take a look at that Scyther steering into the bottom, and he went all the way at the back of the ship.
Yeah, all the way around the back, yeah. and look at this. He just, we didn't get to see the entire fight, but he was just dodging so many abilities. And then look at this. Snorlax like, guys, turn around quick. They're taking the Rayquaza.
Yeah, and by then, it was too little too late for Secret Ship. But what I was about to get onto is that Eternity have always been playing on the knife's edge. We see Heron trying to pull plays of his own on the front lines just to hold them all back. And everything was all being set to pixel perfection, I would say.
Literally pixel hairline perfection. It was such a crazy game. And also, this is our first 3-game series of the tournament. So not only do we have the first game, the first knockouts, the first series completed, but we're also looking at our first best of 3 actual 3-game series. And it's, I mean, Eternity and Secret Ship, these guys are playing to their heart's content, out of their minds. Incredible. I want to know what's happening in this final series. Are they going to stay with the same Pokemon, or are they going to maybe try and change it up a little bit, right? Are we going to still see that Snorlax? Are we still going to see the same compositions, or are we going to finally see some change?
I believe that should
maybe the stinky cheese. The stinky cheese strats.
I'm not too sure if that's going to be involved, but perhaps a little bit of minor adjustments, because it has been 2 rounds in a row that Eternity has been using the same exact composition.
Both teams use the same composition.
Yeah, I would say, like, for them, for Secret Ship, they felt really confident with the very first win, and for Eternity, they saw, like, hey, perhaps it's just unlucky that we got wiped out right before the Rayquaza. This time around, they knew what exactly to do when the Rayquaza appears.
I don't know if that backstab's going to work again, if both teams do decide to go for the same Pokemon. I mean, let's be real in that fight, right? Even though Hanukkah did try to go for the backstab, you saw the positioning of the Snorlax. I think the team knew that, oh, where's the Scyther? And he was like, I'm going to scout the back, guys, just in case he tries to backstab.
It's amazing, right, that they knew exactly where Hanukkah was. We saw that they did manage to land a few blows, and then the Goose Chase went on, or chasing for a bug, bug-type Pokemon, if that's the case.
Was it bug-catching competition?
So, by the end of it all, I mean, you got to catch the biggest dragon on the field, which is the Rayquaza. And I felt like it really was down to, once again, a hair strand of a decision that has resulted in what it was. For both matches in particular, so far, this is the best match.
Oh,
if
yes.
anybody out there is looking for great Pokemon Unite action, this is it here in the Asia Champions League.
Yeah, I think if we were to suggest a game for today, I think this one's definitely number 1 right now.
It tops the cake.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh, it was such a good game. And I can understand, for anyone wondering, okay, where is game 3? We're still waiting for the players to jump into the lobby.
They gotta take a break.
Look, I was gonna say, like, if they gotta do anything, like, if you want to go to the toilet, if you need a drink,
I need to take a breath.
You need to have that small break. So they deserve it. They gave us a fantastic game 2, and we're both eagerly looking forward to this game 3 because I think it's just gonna be as good.
Yeah, and I think, like, whoever wins or loses, they would still be proud of their performance overall, because based off the results of both of these games, like, it has been pretty much assured that these 2 teams are tied as equals.
Yes.
In terms of how they've played out the game, of how much they understood their Pokemon's limitation overall. That is astounding. And of course, instead of taking longer of a break, why not just hit over to Game Tree. Secret Ship now on the purple side and Eternity on the orange.
Oh boy, here we go. Let's see what Pokemon get banned out. Is it going to be the Mew and Urshifu yet again? Because those are the two Pokemon that have been banned so far, and it's actually the Sableye.
So
Sableye
who's
is
going to
out.
get the Mew though? Gakubari might have to think, will they actually let this go or basically secure the Cypher instead? And yes, they do. They stole it away from Eternity.
But that's okay, because look how quickly Eternity locked in their next two Pokemon. So Hanukkah can't play his Scyther. He says, that's okay, I'll play Serena. But the thing is, we haven't seen Serena yet up until today. Fantastic Pokemon. You've got a lot of sustain, a lot of AoE. She's got a lot of disables as well, so she would want to get into those fights. We saw Woolen flick over the Mew. I don't think it's going to be picked yet. Maybe?
Oh, he's deciding he's only got like 5 seconds from now. Quick.
What's the choice?
Mamoswine.
Oh, my
Okay,
boy is playing the game. Okay, I'm excited here. I'm already Team Eternity just because they have the Mamoswine. This is my favorite Pokemon. Besides that, though, on the side of Secret Ship, so we are only looking at, really, it's just the Scyther pickup. Unless it's Scizor, because we don't know which variation of Scyther or Scizor we're looking at here for Secret Ship.
Now, which side of the EV illusion are you on? Because we got both the Alolan 9. Well, actually, sorry. It's not all EVs. I mean,
it's okay.
Ninetales.
Okay. We saw Espeon for a little bit. Okay, it's
yeah.
fine.
You know, like they're both equally cute, and now it's all about this Dodrio as well as Serena to be able to pull in majority of all these points back for Eternity. Meanwhile, Secret Ship, of course, they're just gonna copy a piece of the playbook that Eternity had offered in the past matchup, but the question is, can they do it better?
I kind of feel like we've seen Obuyan play the Dodrio, and I kind of want to hear your thoughts. Like, what did you feel like Obuyan sort of did on Dodrio in those last two games? Because we didn't see him be like, he didn't play as big of a role as Hanukkah did for the original two games. How do you kind of feel like his Scizor or Scyther is going to be like?
Well, I guess it gives him a little bit more options involved when whether if he wants to be more active in some of all these team fights that we've seen so far, because more often than not, when he was on that Dodrio, he has been focusing on scoring more points and trying to steer clear of the dangers. And most often than not, he gets picked off even when he joined. Yeah. So I believe this is a better option for Obuyan in particular.
Yeah.
But
I'm a bit worried though, because you're also going up against a Mamoswine.
Yeah.
Now, depending on what build you're looking at for the Mamoswine, either ice moves, is really, really difficult to play up against, right? Like if it's Ice Fang, that's it, you're KO'd. If it's Icicle Crash, you cannot fight in an area for too long, right? Because there's a chance that the icicle breaks, you get frozen, and again, you just get KO'd. Scyther's biggest weakness is just getting stunned. And I think one of the most terrible Pokemon to fight up against when it comes to stuns is Mamoswine. This Pokemon is full of them.
And exactly, that's what they really want to do. And the reason why they brought a Serena on board, so that you could continue to layer with a Stomp and just basically single out the Cypher when you do have your Unite move up available. So that definitely depends when it comes down to how they really want to approach those kind of situations. While, of course, both sides equally disruptive, they do have the low 9 Tails for Eternity, and then like the Glaceon will possibly offer a whole lot more. Devil without being caught out. Can Gakubari get it though?
Oh, it looks like he'll just be able to get out. He has the movement speed, and I think that was the quick attack as well. So luckily for him, but he's being chased by Buyan. But he's going to go back into lane, so it's fine. He's not going to get...
he knows he's going to cross. Oh, thankfully, Devil's going to be just spotting him out.
And he sees him. He's like, oh goodness. Oh.
Is he going to chase, though? I
so
mean,
who's the bigger
Parrot's
predator?
going to come in.
Oh, the stun? That's all you really need. You just need the stun, but no! Beautiful save. Beautiful move there from Secret Ship. So luckily they were able to preserve their Scyther. Now they're going to be able to turn this around, the Serena, and be able to provide too much in these fights yet.
Yeah, and although there was that form of attempt just to enable Dodrio to hopefully get that knockout, unfortunately that Snorlax just came at the perfect time. Gakubari doing such a magnificent work. Meanwhile, of course, early on, we did have the Blissey to score that 17-pointer as the first point of the game. Now, 20 seconds from here on, I want to see what Eternity does while they manage to score more over a top post. Dibble looking to see if he could basically squeeze some points in along with the team.
Eternity are coming. Everyone's here. They're all going to fight in that bottom lane. They've left the Scyther in that top lane, so numbers advantage so far going to be in favor of Eternity. But this Snorlax is doing a great job at slowing down these Pokemon, and the turnaround is here.
This is not looking all too good for Eternity, especially when you have Regirock up available for grabs. Secret Ship will see this as the perfect opportunity to start things off. While I'm looking at this arena not being involved in the contest as well.
I think they gave it up. They just decided, like, we can't really take this. Maybe we can get a steal with Heron, but it's going to be hard there, unfortunately, for the Pillar Swine. So, yeah, they're just going to go for Regieleki up top instead. So, just surrendering that Regirock.
Yeah, they're just preparing for what's in store for a late game, but that also opens so much spacing down over on the bottom, so I'm not too sure. I mean, looking at this situation, it does not favor Eternity all too much. That's 136 points being put right in by Secret Ship while they are attempting Regieleki from Eternity.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to give certain objectives away, and I think they're not confident enough in their team fight. They don't have the Mamoswine fully evolved, and so he's not really able to provide his Unite move. So they just get the Regieleki. This is going to force Secret Ship to have Pokemon up there to defend the top lane, and then they can focus on training up in the central areas, just farming up all those wild Pokemon, grab those levels, because if they can, ideally you want to try and get this Mamoswine evolved as soon as possible. It's 5 minutes in, he's level 7, he still needs 2 levels.
This is looking pretty rough. It doesn't seem like Eternity has much damage to even offer back from a long-range distance. Well, we have PU getting some free points in. That's a big 40. One
just
goes
be
on
safe.
down.
Sometimes those wild Pokemon can be so annoying when you're trying to score points.
Yeah. Then it's like small little annoyance just to stop some points in. I mean, eventually still get it done. 215 to 101. Eternity might still be able to find ways to get things done, but Secret Ship's just continuing to disrupt them inside of their own jungle. Devil's so low! And Oboyan managing to knock one member off, and there goes the Ninetales, but there will be a little bit more of an offensive play coming from Eternity just to halt them back.
That was a defensive Unite coming in for the Mamoswine. I mean, I can understand him needing to use it, but now that's not going to be available for this next fight on the Regi. But, I mean, he's still a big threat, but something that's going to be a big pain here for Heron is that it's quite difficult for him to get into these fights, right? He can only really use the high horsepower. Secret Ship have been very good with their positioning, so it's been really tough for him to get any of those really good pushbacks.
Yeah, and Secret Ship is hoping to respond to this, but they know that Eternity is all over the map right now. That only allows Eternity the room to score themselves that Registeel, and they immediately open up the team fight with Gakubari trying to get those heavy slams in, still knocking 2 more back. Heron in the front foot of it, but he will eventually be caught out.
Oh no, I think they've dove a little bit too deep here. They're going to have to try and get out with the Serena, but no, they have the chase, the movement speed, the slow.
Meanwhile,
Eternity, they just... I didn't think they needed to take the fight. They knew Scyther wasn't there, but I am surprised that they lost that. I was expecting them to either convincingly take that battle. They're going to bring the Dodrio in. He's actually united to try and get into the fight as well, but he just ran in and exploded. Oh, goodness. And Eternity, this team, I think they're just slowly being burnt down. Oh, they got a beautiful high horsepower, and that's enough. Hanukkah turns the fight around, 4 Pokemon down, and luckily they've got that Blissey in the top lane to protect that jump pad from the Regieleki.
Still the playmaker of the team, Hanukkah ascended in time and managed to turn the tides of the battle. Now, it's still a little bit of a gap that they will have to chase against Regieleki, slowly wearing down Wolon, but it's not too much to be concerned of. Now, final stretch on the way with 1 minute left to Rayquaza, so it's all down to how much Hanukkah can basically find ways to sink the ship of Secret Ship. And I don't know, everyone's pretty prepared. You look at Secret Ship, they're already around the midsection.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are really prepared. I mean, so far, Hanukkah's looking pretty good on this arena, right? We haven't seen him bursted down. He's able to sustain. He's got the shields. He's also got I think he's got the Unite move ready. Yes, he's got Unite ready if he needs to use it. I wouldn't be surprised if either of these teams try to go for a fight a couple seconds before Rayquaza spawns, because if you can win a fight there, I mean, that's an opening for your team to just take the Rayquaza for yourselves. But yeah, defensive plays, they got to be so careful with the Alola Ninetales, because that Pokemon's so fragile, so squishy, and you don't really have a way to get out of those fights. And even Heron getting bullied out of that bush.
Secret Chip trying to take over control, though. They find themselves a target onto Heron. And there we go.
Oh, but they've gone in. But they actually lost the Dodrio already. He used the Unite move to get into the middle of the fight. 2 Pokemon down. It's going to be 3 versus 5. And I think this is going to be a very tough ask. But Hanukkah, it's going to be down to him. Can this Serena show the world who is queen? It looks like so far he's healing back. He's doing that damage. He's buying time for his teammates to come back. And so far, 10 seconds left for Secret Ship to get their Pokemon back. And Alola Ninetales still alive, being pushed back. Will get bursted down by that Delphox. Now, it's going to be down to Delphox. Slow things down. But Dodrio is here. This Pokemon is so good at zoning out squishies such as Delphox. The Heron's here as well. There's burst damage. Pew, he needs to survive. He needs that burst if he wants to steal the Rayquaza. He won't get it. He gets taken down. And that's going to be it. The right side, Eternity. They've got the shield. They've got the points. Divot. He's already running right to the first jump pad. That's the first 100 points deployed.
And that's only the first 100. There's going to be more to come. And Hanukkah has been the player that has been able to steer everything back in the power of Eternity. And now with 341, is this sufficient with 52 seconds on the clock? It should be it with 100 points scored by Hanaka down bottom with the Rayquaza buff, enabling him to even score every single pointer. And he's still doing it. 1 versus 3. Eventually might fall, but it buys all the time needed. What in the world? That's 4 members of Secret Ship.
How much damage does this guy do on that Serena? I mean, that just proves how insane this Pokemon can be if you get the hits off, if you're able to get all those multiple targets. But we got 4 Pokemon on that bottom jump pad. It's so far, it's going to be the Mamoswine and Blissey to go for the Protect. There's 1 Pokemon launched in. It was the Alola Ninetales. They're going to try and score again. And it looks like they will be able to get it, but I just don't think it's enough, Contra. They need so many points. And look at this Eternity. They know it. They know they don't have enough. 2 seconds to go. And I think that's going to be it. Eternity may have just taken this game from Secret Ship.
Wow. Just wow. What a series it was. And Eternity found their way back in with only 41 points of a difference to defeat Secret Ship, and will walk away with the 3 points garnered by the end of this run.
I want to see the damage done on Hanukkah. So he's done 60,000 damage. Now, some people would think like, oh, that's not a lot of damage. 100,000 damage is a lot. In competitive play, 60,000 damage is a lot. And especially with the heavy lifting this man did at the Rayquaza pit.
Exactly, and you've also mentioned before this that there was like nerves onto that Serena, and even so, it's really down to how skillful you play the queen herself. And Hanukkah proved to be the best trainer to be able to basically command and control the course of the battle, and not only for this matchup in particular, but the past match where you see Eternity win. It was down to his play on that Scissor or Scyther that was being involved in that matchup. And wow, I just want to see more of Hanukkah, and I can't wait for the next matches of East Asia. But that concludes all the action that we do have for day 1. What a day it was.
Man, I think so the second series of the day, I think this was such a nice way to end the day. The games were so close. We got to see some amazing plays from all the teams that competed today. I think MVP for the match, Hanukkah, easily around the Rayquaza pit. I mean, his team did a fantastic job in general. It was just that it really came down to him to not only knock out Pokemon from Secret Ship, but let's say the rest of his team got knocked out. He was the one that was dishing damage. He was the one buying time. He's the reason that Swinub as well, the Mamoswine as well as the Dodrio were able to come back into the fight. Because if you get eliminated too early, then where's your sustain?
Exactly, and you also have to credit Jandi for always keeping the Serena alive, and to, of course, negate all these hindrances from the Serena to be halted. So just goes unstoppable, and I felt like Secret Chip, though we see them offering so much damage output from the early game till late, I felt like it was too overwhelming, especially when it came down to that overextension of that fight in Rayquaza. And it took forever for that to be concluded, right?
Goodness, yes. It was a very, very long fight. And that's actually one of the things that's great about Serena. This Pokemon is amazing in long, sustained fights, right? Because she's able to pop up her own shield. She's able to bring health back into herself as well. So it just makes this Pokemon so annoying to deal with. Like, look at her. She's zipping all over the place, jumping on top of you. Shield, healing back again. Just, oh my goodness.
The resets on those cakes are absolutely amazing.
And here we go. I mean, this was really the big fight, right? Hanukkah jumping into the middle of the fight. Everyone on the side of Secret Ship panicking after seeing Hanukkah, forcing Snorlax to have to use the heavy slam onto Hanukkah, but the block, unfortunately, disconnected at the wrong time. And that was basically it. You've lost the Snorlax, you've lost the control. Snorlax is the reason Hanukkah couldn't get into the backlines originally.
Exactly, and they couldn't really get that pick onto its Jondi Splissy, and because she was there the whole time, this arena kept going on and on forever and always.
It never ends.
It never ends. Even without that Blissey, look at this fight that went on, and she still managed to basically get that Glaceon. And technically, it was like, what, 1v5?
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, Hanukkah could really soak up those damage.
Yeah. It's funny too, because this was probably the only time we saw Serena today. We saw a lot of other Pokemon get love. And
play her more. Please, Hanukkah.
I mean, it just goes to show that Serena's not out of the meta. It's just that maybe you want to keep this Pokemon in your back pocket. This was the perfect game to bring it out on.
Yeah, and especially when you look at the way that things have played out, like, I felt like Secret Chip definitely did have a really solid game plan altogether, and the final stretch is where they've got shook and stirred all over. And like,
dude, they surfed into like the Eternity's Bermuda, was it Bermuda Triangle,
it
right?
It was a hurricane, it was a storm, a typhoon, call it what you will.
It was terrifying. I mean, Secret Ship, I think this team did play fantastic. It was just, unfortunately, it came down to the Rayquaza fight, and sometimes it doesn't go your way, and it comes to the point of no return.
As grand as the Titanic is, sometimes it may just sink when you don't expect it to, right? So, but of course, they do have time to repair the hull of the ship or anything that's probably needs repairing overall. That basically goes to the team's strategy heading to all these upcoming battles that they will have in the East Asia region circuit. So, of course, with East Asia's 2 games played out for today, we have a lot to look forward to Southeast Asia as well as India as a region.
I actually cannot wait. So for anyone that is wondering about today's matches, we are going to show the league table so you can see what the standings are currently looking like. So as of now, we have had 4 teams play their games, and right now we've got Eternity and High Five sitting pretty in first place, both with 3 points apiece, as these 2 teams did win their games. Secret Ship were the ones to tie with Eternity, so they will at least take home 1, but unfortunately T2 begin the competition with 0 points, as they did get 2-0'd by High Five. But it's just day 1. There's plenty of opportunities for them to come back, and we haven't seen No-Show play yet. So I'm curious to see how No-Show is going to fare against the competition.
Yeah, that definitely will be a little bit more of a surprise, and No-Show have already had so many accolades under their belt as well, so definitely No-Show will be showing up eventually. So
maybe next week. I have to check the schedule for next week's games. Yeah,
very, very likely they'll be playing really soon. So Secret Ship, at least they walk away with that 1 point. So not all hope is lost for the team that have shown us so much and basically almost even getting those 3 points for themselves. So with that being said, this is how the standings do look like for the East Asia League table. And now, I'd like to also remind you guys that there's a lot of things to be won here in the Pokemon UNITE Asia Champions League.
Right, so if you haven't noticed already or you weren't here during the announcement, we're doing some amazing giveaways to all of our loyal viewers. So how it works is that as you watch the stream, you're going to be accumulating points and you can redeem those points for rewards. And the rewards are what you can see on the screen. Now, to enter, you need to register on Stream Elements using your Twitch account. Once you've done that, then you'll be eligible to start collecting those points. Now, I do believe these rewards are also first come, first serve. So if you want to go for those big rewards, I do highly suggest that you start saving up those points right now. And speaking of the giveaway prizes, Contra, this is what they are. So we have acrylic keychains, we have clear file holders, we have a Pikachu keychain, and then the big reward on the right side, as you can see, we've got Pokemon card blister packs and stacking tins. So if you're wondering what the tins are, there are booster packs inside those tins, and you can put whatever you want in them after you've opened the booster packs. So if you're keen to win these things, register on Stream Elements using your Twitch account and start getting those points, because you are going to be competing with a whole bunch of other trainers out there who are wanting the same rewards.
That's right. Continue to watch and you shall be rewarded every single time we go live on twitch.tv/Pokemon Unite _ACRCL._EN. You'll be able to just collect more and more of those points. So if you want to increase your chances, tell your family members, hey, sign up for a Twitch account, link it to Stream Elements, and at least somebody in the house could actually walk away with that point.
Maybe. I mean, that's actually a brilliant idea, you know? Just have your
Right.
sibling like, hey, can you make an account, watch some Pokemon for me?
That's a good way to bond together as well, you know?
Exactly. You know, you got to battle together. Sometimes you got to do all kinds of crazy things to nurture that relationship with not just your Pokemon, but also your family members.
Your friends, if you want to get them on board,
You want to battle your
please.
friends? You mean lose friends? I'm kidding. Sorry.
Well, I believe that Pokemon Unite has brought the world together.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they've got Unite in the title contract.
Exactly. So, with that being said, of course, we do look forward to what's going to be happening throughout the course of the weekend as well. For those of you guys who think, hey, is that all that we got? Only 2 games? I want more. Tell you what, we still have Southeast Asia as well as India as a region to play out those matches with, of course, different trainers involved, different types of ideas of how to play Pokemon Unite. I'm excited to see for the India region what will they actually offer. So let's quickly take a look at the schedules of what's next.
So if you take a look at the screen right now for Southeast Asia, we're going to be looking at Secret Rare going up against Team MYS. So the Filipino runner-up team from the Filipino Open playing up against the champion for the Malaysia 2022 Open. And then to finish off the day, we have Escape 5 going up against Renaissance. And of course, if you did watch the World Championship Series last year, you know that Renaissance was the representative for Southeast Asia at the World Championships. And I'm curious to see if Escape 5 are going to give them a run for their money. Now, if you are keen to know more about East Asia, we're going to be seeing them again next week. It'll be Eternity going up against High Five. That's going to be a really exciting series. And then we're going to see the debut of No Show playing up against T2.
That's right, and of course, all you fans as well as trainers from the India region, you get to enjoy even more Pokemon Unite on Sunday.
Yeah.
Specifically this Sunday, of course, we start off with God's Reign versus Trippers, and you definitely don't want to miss out on Revenant Esports versus Team Soul. Two huge teams of the region itself to be locking horns, so that's a great way to kick off the run. Of course, we'll be joined together by some of the casters as well.
Yeah.
Of course, there will be broadcasts of different languages that you guys could also tune into, where you could catch Ocean Shama if you're from the region. But you can stick around with us, you know, like always. Please,
Yeah.
please stick around.
Absolutely. And if you are keen for particular matchups, we do recommend taking a screenshot of the schedule, because I think this is the hard locked schedule. So if you're following particular teams, mark down the days that they're playing so that you know what streams to tune into. But if you do want the goodies, just mark down
Every single day. Every single day if you tune in.
Don't even mark down every single day. Just mark on your phone Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's all you need to do. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because we're basically going to be here for the next 2 months. Every Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, and well, we'll be seeing each other a whole lot. And of course, I hope you guys will also make a whole lot of friends from the Twitch chat, where whether if you're supporting different teams, we're all united as one. So,
Aww, so cute.
yeah, a little sweetness to, of course, end our evening overall. But of course, any takeaways for today, Danley, of what you've seen so far?
Ooh, I mean, I enjoyed the games. That's basically all I've got to say.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, they were great games. I think I'm really looking forward to next week's matchup, right? Seeing Eternity going up against High Five. I think that's going to be a really exciting one. The Taiwan team surprising. So we'll see if they continue on with that. And I guess tomorrow, I'm really keen to see Renaissance play. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while, and I think by now there's a lot of shift of dynamics and also player rosters from Southeast Asia. They do change from time to time, and we'll definitely fill you in for more of those details coming up for tomorrow. But for now, of course, if you guys are still tuning in to the broadcast, make sure, of course, to pay a visit to our website for every news related to the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League altogether. Whether if you're basically looking out for East Asia, Southeast Asia, or even India, there's something for everyone out there. So, of course, with all these few matches, we have not seen No Show perform yet, but we'll have to wait for another Friday for that.
Yeah, next week. Next week. I think it's the second series of the day, so I'm looking forward to that. I really want to see No Show play. I want to see what's the final standing, I suppose, for all the teams. Like, what's the power rankings looking like? How the team power dynamics, the play styles. Because we've only got an appetizer. We only got a little bite of what the teams really have to offer. We've got them for 2 months. We've got a lot of months
2 months
watching these teams. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing the teams grow as well, right? Because when you play in a tournament setting, you've got all this time to learn about your opponents, to learn about yourselves, to start trying out new things as well. Because once you consistently play in your own little bubble, it's really difficult to step away and try things that are uncomfortable.
That's right.
So having all these teams with these different play styles and dynamics coming at you, it forces you into that uncomfy zone where you have to try new things.
Exactly, and that's where everybody gets to learn a little bit of something, and that's where improvement comes in. And you know what? Things are only going to get better and better leading up to the finals of the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League overall. And I'm just excited to see which are the teams from each respective region to be heading into Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Yeah, of course, everyone's looking forward to that one. But we'll have to see who are going to be the top 2 seeded teams for those regions. We've got a long way to go. I mean, Contra, we've just started. This is literally day 1 of the competition for East Asia. We haven't even started day 1 for Southeast Asia and India. So this is going to be such an amazing, explosive week to start the competition. But we do hope all of you did enjoy the broadcast. Do show the team some love as well if you can find their social medias. Give them your love, your support, so that they're able to perform at their best for their next upcoming matchups. And maybe if you learn something from the pros as well, give it a shot in your pubs. You know, sometimes all it takes is for you to get a little bit of inspiration to try out new Pokemon. I don't have Cypher, but
It's about
that might
time.
change now.
You said you had enough points to get Cypher.
How many coins did I have? I think I had 22 or 24,000 coins. I've been holding on to them because I don't know who to buy. It might be Cypher next. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, like, you got ample time to think and decide. As for now, of course, you guys probably have seen a lot of those action, and you can't wait to jump into your next ranked matchup. Well, you know the drill. Ban that Mew, ban that Ursh.
Okay, wait, but technically we can't ban them in ranked,
right.
so then we just sort of have to deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it. Or just go ahead, pick up that Pokemon, and
just learn it yourself. You know, if you can't beat them, join them.
You'll be a Pokemon master yourself.
I mean, I love that saying sometimes. You know, you can't beat them, you just got to join them. So, all right, I'll play it too. How do I begin? Where's the instruction manual?
All right, and of course, you know what? All those manuals, you got to figure out for yourself. As for all of you trainers out there, good luck with your journey. And once again, we'll see you all tomorrow for more Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League.